Mic check. Mic check. Microphone check. Microphone check. 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 Microphone check. Media sound. Check. Check. Microphone check. Media sound. How are you doing, people? My beautiful folks. Okay, we're checking sound. Beautiful souls. Bear with us. Okay, what it is want to make sure all this coming through, surrounded by screens and sounds, so we can be all ears and eyes for ourselves. Because we hide ourselves onto YouTube so that the stuff can be left. And this is literally the best thing to do. What else? Let me make sure media sound is also correct. Yeah.
This is for my young people. Big Bill, Picasso. I used to sell crack in the trap. Now I make music at least 5,000 a track. Schedules collect dust in the shelf. I go in my cocoon and reinvent myself.
I used to watch your back to pull out the dagger. I move too fast, coming up the ladder. Greedy in need, but I'm destined to change it. I made it, now I'm blessed. The next generation.
I see blue angels flying in the sky, and I'm reaching high. We keep on winning. I'm living my expectations. This is my presentation. To the next generation. To the next generation. To the next generation. To the next generation. I'm extraordinary, yeah, so ordinary. I live my life to the fullest while they wanna take it from me. I feel those dark and lonely nights. This is dedicated.
Finally, I can see, I can breathe, I believe. I was angry alone, unhappy and cold, dragging my soul, agony road.
My mind's ahead of y'all, I perceive a future and ask for this gift. I see all these spirits every time that I look in the sky. And only intervention in front of my eyes, for
I
real.
would swallow my problems, roll in the haze, smoke them away, hoping today would just go away. Holding my faith, no, I won't let go till you open the
This is
gates.
for the youngsters. In the beginning of the future, you ain't gotta be a thug of a hustler. I leave an invitation so you can enter with me into the nation. I see blue angels flying in the sky, and I'm reaching high. We keep on winning. I'm living my expectation. This is my presentation. To the next generation. To the next generation. To the next generation. To the next generation. This is for my young people. Big Bill, Picasso. I used to sell crack in the trap. Now I make music at least 5,000 a track. Schedules collect dust in the shelf. I go in my cocoon and reinvent
I
myself.
used to watch your back to pull out the dagger. I move too fast, coming up the ladder. Greedy in need, but I'm destined to change it. I made it, now I'm blessed. The next generation.
I see blue angels flying in the sky, and I'm reaching high. We keep on winning. I'm living my expectation. This is my presentation. To the next generation. To the next generation. To the next generation. I'm extraordinary, yeah, so ordinary. I live my life to the fullest. Why they wanna take it from me? I feel those dark and lonely nights. This is dedicated.
Finally, I can see, I can breathe, I believe. I was angry alone, unhappy and cold, dragging my soul, agony road.
My mind's a heavy, I perceive a future and ask for this gift. I see all these spirits every time that I look in the sky. And only intervention in front of my eyes, for
I
real.
would swallow my problems, roll in the haze, smoke them away. Hoping today would just go away. Holding my faith, no, I won't let go till you open the
This is
gates.
for the youngsters. In the beginning of the future, you ain't gotta be a thug of a hustler. I leave an invitation so you can enter with me into the nation. I see blue angels flying in the sky, and I'm reaching high. We keep on winning. I'm living my expectation. This is my presentation. To the next generation. To the next generation. To the next generation. To the next generation. I'm extraordinary, yeah, so ordinary. I live my life to the fullest. Why they wanna take it from me? I feel those dark and lonely nights.
Purchase your track today.
Powerful. Yes. Thank you, Big Bill, and all the producers that put together to create this powerful, song. We couldn't find a better fitting one for the time. You see. Like we said, yes. We thank you, Big Bill and Co. For having created such a beautiful tune. These guys are no joke. You see. So now I wanna make sure that I'm still sounding. Like we said, yes. Indeed. We thank you. So, with that being said, we say good afternoon, happy Sunday to everyone. All the lovers, the haters that are lovers but of a lower frequency, all needed. You see, there's nothing to hate in this reality whatsoever, except people fit where they belong. And where they belong is where they choose to belong, but that's not all they can be, you see. So the thing is, like, and if we want everyone to be better or to gravitate towards the higher expressions of self, then we start first by being the example. This is the only way to go. I realized in my own journey that it's not about, telling others what to do and whatever it is, except that you just live your life according to the way you think it should be lived. And then if you are on the right track and you are consistent enough and confident enough, then of course everything else and everyone else will follow suit. Because all of the, questioning and the doubting, all that comes from, uh, you know, unsurety. They're not sure what to do and what to say, what to believe. But of course, the reality is everybody's is looking for something to follow, something to do, and something to listen to. But all the talk and things like this is just them fighting themselves or trying to fight. The urge to to understand what it is that they are looking at. And this is why today, you see, it is a very important topic. You see, as I was helping my sister with her college work, and then I ended up doing some research on this. Although we always briefly talk about the AI and robotics and stuff like this, and also the workforce. Last week that had to do, that was a very big parenthesis during the conversation. Of freedom that we had, because many want to be free, but don't know what it is to be free and what it takes to be free. And also, many want to be free yet don't believe that freedom exists. And the same confusion also go with in all aspects as well, even in the deity or whatever, in religion. You find people that don't believe in a God. They call themselves atheists, yet they do to some degree believe in a higher force or whatever it is. It's a confusion. But the only time you meet God is when you know yourself for real. And this is why we choose not to lose ourselves into all the noises, and stuff like this, and focus on what matters most, which is ourselves. Everything else just, like secondary to self, you see, because self is everything. We are here the belligerents, and the vicegerents, you see what I mean, those that are supposed to, to create the reality, to create the experience, you see what I mean, and for others to come and enjoy, or something like that, you see what I mean. So the thing is, like, we have a lot of work to do, because as we already know, for millenniums we've been asleep. And thanks to the universe and to the unbroken rule that every rule, is bound to be broken, you see. So because of that, even during the age of confusion and miseducation and all of the nonsense, you see, there were some of us that were still able to swim above waters and then keep ourselves together. And then this is why, to those, great responsibility arise in this time, because they're supposed to be the ones literally leading the group of selves into a greater tomorrow. You see what I mean? But it cannot be done if we do not seek to understand each other. And what I say also, it's always about the leaders, is because, if we are crying and for every little thing, and we are seeking recognition or validation outside of self and all of these things, seeking love or anything, that is of value, we seek for outside of ourselves, then of course we are like literally out of place. We're not to be leading or doing anything like that, because you see, we cannot be what we seek you know, to guide. You see what I'm saying? We have to be even beyond or better to some degree. And this is why I always agree with Till when she was talking about these things about being better than the other, and it's something that I was even talking about. Because when we say better, like the monkey mind may disagree with it until it is time for the monkey mind to say it for its own good. You see what I mean? But the whole truth is like, you see, we have to accept the reality for what it is. You see, it's not lying to ourselves that's gonna fix anything. Because why do we do not need to lie to ourselves? Is because we can be better if we choose to. So what's the need to lie except that we wanna remain on the monkey levels that we choose to be? You see what I mean? And this is why all the time, I don't seek to just hurt anyone. And this is why I always say, only masters can follow, because due to compassion, a compassionate heart, I understand within myself exists a little monkey whose tail is always between its legs and always afraid, or always this, always that. So this monkey, I just keep it in a cage where it's safe. You see, I put the cage not to enslave it, but to keep it safe. Why? Because I understand that it needs the higher guidance, the higher protections. It needs everything that my higher self within me can provide to it, that it cannot provide for itself. You see what I'm saying? So when I speak like this and saying monkey this, monkey that, is because among within us, when I say also among us, as it is within, so it is without. Among us or within us is are those, that may be vibrating as monkey due to a lack of parenting or better guidance or something like this. But at the same time, within these individuals are great potential, you see. So when I say monkey, that's the same thing I do to my children. If I say monkey and you hurt, it's because you're not a monkey. You don't belong where you are. If it hurts you in any way, you're not at peace with that. You see what I mean? So don't blame the pain. Accept it for what it is. That is telling you the difference. You see what I'm saying? So I say monkey purposely. It's not because I wanna hurt anyone, but if you are hurt, that means the job is done. I've chosen the right terminology. You see what I mean? And this is why I can literally say it's something that came to me. The ancestors say you should say a disclaimer that, your channel or your podcast or your teachings or your talks or whatever it is that people may call it, it's not for the weak-hearted. It's not for the weak-minded. If you are still looking for God outside of you, it may not be for you. If you are still fighting left and right, black and white, and this and that, it may not be for you. If you are still thinking you superior than that and that superior than this, then it may not be for you. Because I'm not saying that there's not a difference between what is superior, there's inferiority or whatever. I'm not saying anything against the words, because the words, are very a sorry excuse for what they are trying to explain. So of course we have to speak and explain ourselves and elaborate on what we say, specifically when we are using a language as young as English, which is not meant to describe or a God self or spirituality or anything except something of a corporational degree. You see, something of work and survival and seeking things that are lacking from self and things like this. This is what the language is for. It's not meant to speak on spiritual science and great, speeches and things like this. You see what I mean? But we do our best with it, because it has become, you know, an, a common language for all. That way, everywhere you are in the world, you get to understand what someone is saying using English or something. And this is why we speak that. But we understand the ramifications, we understand the danger, we understand all of that. Because if you don't know everything on what you're saying, you don't understand it fully, then you may confuse more than you got. You see? And this is why we always say that it is not. You see, Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. It is not for everyone. You see what I mean? It is for only those that are on time. You see, to say the least. Ahead of time may not need me whatsoever, though it may be interesting to hear that amongst themselves or someone else, and the human being, based on its communal you know ways and relationships and stuff like this, they love it when they find common folks, you see. So because of that, if someone like this ahead of their time hear me, of course they will enjoy that, they will love that, you see. And also if they are on time, unless they learn to follow their hearts, then they may be questioning themselves, because the best I can do is to not disrespect the game and make it too easy or something like this, because that's why a lot of the decisions are made or something like this, they are made based on the understanding of myself and the reality I live in, you see, including everyone in it at every level, you see. So the thing is, like, that's why you see us out, you know the best we can do is to share your story, because this is the time for it, and this is the time, like we say, the title is authenticity. So it's all about self and the decision makings that we are facing with on a daily basis. So what it is like the decision, you see, it's to start over from business wise. It's because the ego is still among us, like I say. So when you reach a level where you can cash in into your wins in this life, you are also faced with the questions from the higher beings, from the higher guides. You see, those that are not faced by any needs or something, like need of money, need of shelter, need of this. You see, they give you the ultimatum, where it's like, okay, you can either take your wins, you see what I mean, and cash in and enjoy. But that's also, you have to understand also, because we cannot hide anything from you. You have to understand also, it's gonna take away from your level, because once you are given something, having it is not the end of it, is not the best of it, is keeping it now. So you're gonna have to fight to keep it, you're gonna have to focus on it to make sure to keep it. Yet it's still yours, because you are what you seek, you see. But if you choose to give it up just to level up, then of course you're always gonna be ahead of your time. But I sat and understood, try to understand the dangers in taking the win, you see, once you win, and celebrating it. So, and then I realized, okay, since it's me, it's mine, then there's no need for me to rush, because the time that we rush, we're not rushing for ourselves, we're only rushing to show off to those who used to look down on us. You see, who used to doubt us, who used to think they're better than us, you see. So now, you literally, by taking in the win, already show that you are where you belong, and you don't belong in the future or ahead. Why? Because you're still thinking that people's whatever insecurities have something to do with you. You see what I'm saying? So of course it's a dangerous thing to have in your heart, if you're gonna be given such powerful knowledge and understanding, you see, and stuff like this. So I realized, okay, I had to just give it up, and of course, and start anew with everyone. And this is why many people now who love me, and I'm so grateful. That's why sometimes it may seem that, okay, you see, they may think I'm hard headed or whatever, because they think, okay, with all this potential, if this kid knew what he was doing, he would have done this and turned it to cash, blah blah blah. You see what I mean? But remember, we are creators of worlds. We are gods, literally. We are, the creators of money. We are the money, and the money is only a medium of exchange to the creators of money. It's nothing more, nothing worthy of self-sacrificing whatsoever. So you see, that's why we realize, there's no need to just trying to be ahead, and we have to be the masters of ourselves, that chooses our wins and loss, and what we choose to make our legacy, and whatever it is, but not to follow the masses or something like this. You see what I mean? So the thing is, like, basically, because we do these decisions, if monkeys understood the magnitude of these decisions, they will literally fall to their forehead and then bow, really. to the amount of love within these decisions and stuff like that. You see, because it's anyone, whoever, achieve greatness in themselves will understand what I'm talking about. You see, and those who have yet to face that in the mirror, they will also see that. So the thing is, like, basically is just, we always grateful for the people who may be winning in the game that is put in front of their eyes, the game that is so beautiful that they may not be able to see beyond it. You see, so they are still loving beings. You know what I mean? So something like this. So they may come and try to help, and you see, because we complement each other. You see, but there's some of us that are truly, like self-sufficient. If you understand what I'm saying, just because you choose, we cannot come and be greater than everyone. You see what I mean? We have to allow ourselves certain weaknesses. You see, the thing is, like, more if I don't explain myself and my decisions to my people and my lovers, then I will continue to confuse them and continue to lose their trust and their love and whatever. It's not that we care that they do, because sometimes it may be for our own good or their own good, but at the same time, we have to keep our humanity alive and caring to belong somewhere. You see what I'm saying, or among a few at best, or something like that. But how can we do that if we cannot level up, by at least opening our hearts and explain ourselves, to a degree where we can have a common ground of understanding. You see? So the thing is, like, basically is just, you just come when you we can with the greatness. That's what they will always ask. You have all this potential, and I'm speaking on my immediate families, like my sister, my beloved one, the oldest. She would always tell me that, yo, you can do whatever. Everyone I know is in awe of you. They always wanna know you, speak to you, this and that. Everything you say or do is great, or whatever. Even ex-girls, girlfriends, whatever. They always tell me the same. So why can't you do this? Why can't you be, all this? Even everyone I know is somehow, whatever. Like, it's what's the word? You see, it's, whatever, you see, that is being said. But when they say these things, you love the fact that they see greatness, but the facts also remain that you truly don't need anyone outside of you to tell you of greatness, because you are literally what it is in the flesh. You see what I mean? So you don't have anything to prove. You see, that's what's important. When you don't have anything to prove, then you can make the proper decisions, not based on showing your worth or what you can achieve or whatever, but what the decisions that are needed for you to for the collective to achieve greatness, not just for you to be seen as greatness or something like this in the eyes of all. Because many of us with the lacking mentalities and the stuff like this, we think, okay, if we allow someone else to shine, then we're gonna, blind our own shyness or something like this, or shadow our own selves. You see, which is so far from truth. You see what I mean? Because we look at the sky, you take any stars, take like this way, the sun don't worry about the billions of stars above it. It doesn't really give a damn, because it is what it is. I am that sun shining upon the earth, or upon my earth. You see what I mean? You guys are just reflection somewhere out there shining up on your own earth. You see what I mean? So it doesn't really matter, really. But we understand. That's why you see, it's hard for us to belong, but we're still human. We want to belong. You see, that's why we have to help elevate. And I'm sorry that we have elevated the game to a degree, because I truly didn't expect ego, you see, or we truly didn't expect ego to be on this level. Now, everyone should have known better by now, you see. But since ego is amongst us, so that's why we had to make the decisions that we make, not to show ourselves as the best or the greatest or something like this, but to continue to be small, and allowing us to be doubted and misrepresented or misunderstood or whatever, that the pain that most of us cannot endure. We had to continue taking this pain, just so that we can at least be heard, and to a point where we can help out or something like this in the reality. You see what I mean? But the thing is, like, it's truly not about gathering shiny things and all of these things. Though there's nothing wrong with that. You see, we enjoy seeing people enjoying themselves because we know there's no difference between them and us. At least they are living for us, because at some degree we have to accept our weaknesses. You see, because when you come here to know your greatness, to who you are truly in essence, is incapable. It's impossible to be here fully in this third dimension. You see, without destroying the dimension itself. You see what I mean? So that's why it's so important that once you achieve that greatness in that God level or something, you literally have to now choose, pick and choose the weaknesses and the strength that you. It's literally like rebuilding yourself. You see what I mean? Like you just rebuild. You recreating yourself now. You see, you accept this certain weakness, and one of these weaknesses is everyone look on the money, you see, to give worth, you see, or something like that, because they don't understand the worth in themselves except outside of themselves. So we have to accept this reality for what it is, and then I choose this one as well, because I know that it's the least, you see, because it's so easy. Because when you, especially now, and this is why we say authenticity, you see what I mean? Because the minute that you are worthy in yourself, you recognize that worth, and you're authentic in who you are and stuff like this. That is what a star is. You see, the sun is authentic. You can't look around and see anything like it. You see what I mean? It's just, it doesn't worry about being shone upon or something like that. It's just itself. You see, it doesn't need anything. You see, it's just, you feel me? So the thing is, like, basically we just gotta be, and you see how far he had to be placed from the earth, because too close he would fry life, and too far he will freeze it. You see what I'm saying? I mean, space itself will freeze it or something. So the thing is, like, we just gotta understand there's a reason behind every decision, and we leave them. For, of course, the ego will take that and use that weakness against us, like thinking they're doing something. But those with the heart and it's still alive, to the least degree, will understand, even if the words of the monkey or mine is loud or whatever. But at the same time, the heart still cannot agree with what they're saying, like, because you take my sister, those, what I mean, they can help seeing the greatness. They're just confusing themselves. Like, if I had 1% of you, I would be doing this. But that's something we always say to ourselves. You see what I mean? It's like, okay, if I had this, I'd do that. Oh my God, if I could say the simplest example I used to say in Haiti. Some people would be like, oh, if I had a mango tree, I would eat mangoes every day. And then the one who have the mango tree truly doesn't care. It's just the way it is. You only want something so bad when you are so far away from it. You want greatness so bad because you are so far from greatness. You want money so bad because you are so far from money. And if you cannot become that money within yourself, the vibrational degree and the frequency of what money is, then you will continue to chase it and never find it. You may find a little something by selling a piece of yourself which you did not see as greatness, but someone else who recognizes greatness will take it, and then turn it to something, and then give you a little shining things, which is what goes on in everywhere in the industries, like art industries and film industries, this and that. You see what I mean? Since they couldn't tell greatness within themselves, so they think they had to sell themselves to experience of greatness, and that greatness is none other than just printed paper. You see? So that's the thing. It's like we have to continue to speak to each other, and so that we can learn on things or something like this. Because, if these times come and then as not ready as we are, we still have the help of one another. That's why the ancestors, you never used to hear these words before, like all the time, like, okay, each one teach one. But now it's all over the place, and it's like something that was there. You can even tell when it just started. but it's just the code of the day. You see what I mean? It's that's what it is. Okay, ego is here, so let's teach. You see, teach ego, because ego is the child. The ego needs guidance. Ego, what I mean? In this time, every ego is supposed to be able to guide themselves, to be their own lights, you see. But they're still chasing something on the outside. But when you tell them about what is inside, they throw it in your face saying, okay, if you this, why don't you that? You see what I mean? I was watching this show on YouTube yesterday about this sister that was teaching on totems and spirit guides in nature, and fairies and things like this. And then there was this, probably like 50 years old man or something like this, who seemed to have done much for himself, financially, because if you can sit in those gatherings where people are talking about fairies, it only shows that you have time for yourself, and you sit pretty comfortable at home. I mean, you have your home, you have everything you need, a nice little investment account for yourself, portfolio. You see what I mean? So he asked, okay, if you understand all this, you have all this greatness, why aren't you a millionaire? And you can see the disgust in the sister's face to answer this question because of the ignorance, you see, that she couldn't help but seeing. You see, it's like, yo, I mean, yeah, I understand, but the universe or the higher guides, you see, they don't look at life the way you guys do. Like, the universe doesn't see. And she even said, I wouldn't be getting any of what I'm sharing with you right now if I chose to be grabbing gold and this and that, like little things in life or something. You see what I mean? Because the minute that you focus on grabbing something, you're already losing the greater thing or something like that. So now you may have more money than her, yet you are the one sitting at her feet listening to her instead of the other way around. So what is really the greatness in reality? You see, to be the upper hand, meaning the one given you information and knowledge, or is it the one, you see, that is sitting, taking it in? We have to start understanding things the way they're supposed to. You see what I mean? And I know you are out of your elements. And when I say you, it's to whomever the shoe fits, you see, and that is myself included, you see. So the thing is, like, basically, in this time, and this is why we so focus on your wealth, you see, like, to see, because if you cannot be that which you seek, you can never have what you seek. You see what I mean? That's just the way it is. You feel me? And then we do want you to experience what we see of the plane, what we see of the reality. We want you to even have a bit of that understanding or something. But if you stand in your own way, then there's nothing that can be done, because like the Bible even say, you see, there's no enemy or no weapons formed against you shall prosper. Me, like I always say, I want to add, since ego is still here, before we knew ego was here, that would suffice. But to know that ego is still among us running the show, so we have to add this, accept yourself, which is that ego self who need guidance, yet may not know it. You see what I'm saying? So everything we say, we change, we do, or any, fixes and stuff like this is done based on wisdom and understanding. We're not just the monkeys who just run their mouths. You see what I mean? And this is why we pose the greatest threat to ourselves. When we speak on things we do not fully comprehend, we cause them to become worse than they should have been. Imagine you having a wound on your body somewhere, an opening, an incision, or whatever, and then now you go and add certain things, like, you just know, you hear plants, like a child would hear plants heal, and they see a poison ivy, they don't know what that is, and put that on the wound. Okay, it's nature, whatever, so it's gonna heal. You see what I mean? And that's just knowledge that nature heals, but wisdom is to know when and what and where and all of these things. You see what I'm saying? And it doesn't come from reading, to tell you the truth. It comes maybe by reading yourselves, but not reading others' experiences. Others' experiences can only help, you see, to a certain degree. But if you seek to become the soul being, the self, authentic self. You see, it can only come from your own doing and stuff, your own mistakes. So be not afraid to make mistakes. You see what I mean? Because they are the greatest lessons or greatest teachers. They are the wins. You see what I mean? So right now, monkeys are running amok, you know, cursing and destroying others' works and achievements, whatever is going on. You see what I mean? When in reality, it is the very thing that they're cursing that transform the beings and stuff like this. So we have to tame ourselves to the best that we can. You see what I mean? So the thing is, like, I share this with you because it's important that you understand, why we do what we do. Because if we don't explain it to you, you may be too stupid to even understand. You see what I'm saying? And we don't say stupid to belittle anyone. We just say stupid for what it means in the language that we are using. You see what I mean? So we don't want to tell you what to think and what it means. So we allow you to do it for yourself, so that you don't think that we're trying to hurt. But we literally have to speak what it is the way it is. You see. So the thing is, like, you will continue. You see, because once I made this decision, right. That's why even choosing a woman had to be put aside. You see, because once you don't seek love, just like you don't seek money. You see, you are self-loving. You are not even self-loving anymore. You're even beyond that. You are love itself. Just like the sun does not need light upon it, you see, love does not need love. It is love, you see. Money does not need money. It is money, you see. So you just gotta understand the choices we make, you see. And then, of course, we enjoy watching you thinking you otherwise. We even have to find a way to enjoy the reality, because it's already painful enough to watch you disrespecting yourselves and, or whatever is going on with us or something like that. So we have to find a way to make it worth it, you see. And that way is to, since you try to belittle or disrespect this and that, then of course that gives us the right to enjoy you acting a fool. You see what I mean? So, but you have to understand, most of the people you see that do not choose to sell you out for miserable gain or whatever it is, just for self gratification and praise, you have to learn to, revere these type of actions and stuff like this. Not because those beings need that from you, but because you need many other ego to want to be that. You see, because that's what's gonna create the paradise on earth. When the ego has something positive that it wants to become. You see, because whatever you praise is what ego gonna wanna be. Ego only wanna be a millionaire right now because that's what's being praised. Trust me, if you tell ego helping, loving, this and that is what is the shit now, that's what ego gonna wanna do. You see what I'm saying? That's why you just gotta understand how the reality works. Become the creator of realities and worlds, so that you may, access the change or the uplifting of your world. And we have many people, you see, of different denominations, and the brothers. Shout out to the brothers, from the Moorish Science Temple, and which literally we, myself included, we make this mistake, and the Prophet Nobuju Ali in how you call it, in meditation nightly travels and stuff like this, you see, literally made me realize something. And then the Prophet Muhammad himself, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, agreed on that, because as humble as he is, he does not want to put any of our mistakes out in the open like the monkeys love to do. You see, I mean, that's the difference between a god and a monkey. And no disrespect to the monkeys, of course not. So when I say the monkeys, I'm saying the literal monkeys. But the human being, that should be better than that. Is whatever you feel, you feel. So the thing is, like, literally is that Nobuju Ali himself said he had made a mistake himself in the reality. And he realized that when he departed. It was already too late. And because of that mistake, you see, there's a division among the Eastern Muslims, upon which his literature is derived or is based, and the Muslims of the West. You see, when a wise one is supposed to be the catalyst to togetherness, to oneness. You see, it's not of division. You see, when division has to happen, it has to happen, but not caused by the wise ones. You see, and then the thing that wise ones do is that they don't act like they are perfect then or holier then. They recognize their own mistakes, and that's what make them greater men. A great man or perfect man is not the one without mistakes. It's the one whose mistake can teach a lesson to everyone, including himself or herself. You see what I mean? And then he said what? That he called himself a prophet, and that was a mistake on his part. He could have chosen any title that he wanted, but prophets is something the ego love, because prophets are revealed throughout time, beyond time. Everybody worships a prophet. You see, it's in all books or something like that. So he said that because of why did he make that mistake? It's because Prophet Muhammad himself, peace and blessing be upon him, was faced with the same dilemma at the time. But he recognized the right of the prophets before him, and he did not fall for that, you see. And what was that time of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him? He was in the literature, in the Sirah. It was the historical book about the Prophet Muhammad. So he says that one time he was praying. You see, I forgot exactly what prayer, Dhuhr, As, or Maghrib, whichever one. So, but it was one of the middays and stuff like that. Or was it even? Was it the Fajr, the morning? I don't remember. I don't recall the exact time. It doesn't matter anyway. So prayer, literally, he was in prayer. And then what it is like the shaitan, or the lower self, came to him and then started disturbing him in his prayer. When he had khushu', he was fully into the prayer. He was very, he had high concentration in the prayer, to the degree where you can even see the higher, you see, of things. You see what I mean? So he got mad doing the prayer within himself, you see, and got frustrated by the lower self, or the shaitan, the devil self. So what he did, he held them, onto the, he held them in his throat, and then he was just squeezing his neck or something, like strangling the shaitan, right? And then in his mind, came the idea to keep holding the shaitan and tie him up until the morning time comes, and then the sun comes up, and then people come out and see him, and see that he is not great. Look what I did to him. Look, I tie him up to now. Look, so what are you guys afraid of? Look, the devil is so weak, whatever. He was gonna do that to the devil, or to the jinn, or the shaitan. But he remembered the prayer of Prophet Suleiman. Prophet Suleiman, which Allah Most High agreed and granted to Suleiman, which was at the time of Suleiman, that Suleiman asked Allah, or the great God of the universe, sees, or something. So he says, okay, grant me power over the jinns, so that I can make them do my biddings and do whatever I want them to do, or whatever. You see what I mean? And then let me be the only one that have this sort of power among my peers, like prophets like myself. And then Allah, God, Most High, Yahweh, whichever you want to call it, granted him that. You see, okay, you are the only one. But we have to understand the connection on the oneness between higher, lower, and all of these things. So when God says yes to Suleiman, it takes another man to respect what God says, because God only moves through us. If we keep seeing him outside, or seeing her outside, you see, then what we do, we are far away from God, because God says himself or herself that she is or he is everything and everyone. You see what I mean? So the thing is like Prophet Muhammad remembered of that prayer of Suleiman, and then say, it's only because of my brother Suleiman that I did not put you on blast right now. And then release them and let them go. You see, let the shaitan go. So now, Nopo Juali, whoever think that he was not, you best check yourself, because Prophet Muhammad, the wise one, what it is that, you see, one second, yeah. All right. So, what it is he had to be something else. You see what I mean? So he had to be another term that may have the same degree or whatever, or even more than before, right? But he had to be something different. But to his own mistake, he said he chose the title prophet. You see what I mean? And then because of that, there's a fight among East and West Muslims. Though they may not be able to deny that he knew what he was talking about Nubuju Ali, peace be upon him. He knew what he was talking about. He was guided by higher forces and stuff like this. But at the same time, they disagree because of the title. When one say that I am the last, and then another come to say I am. So that put them in the position of the false ones, you see. But that is by his own mistake, and he wants the people to know that, or something like that, to understand how dangerous ego is. You see, we could literally cause, things to crumble, or for us, instead of making steps forward, we make steps behind, or something like this. And then also causing ego to continue. Like even in the movement, you may find egos come not because they care about spirituality or anything. When the prophet says that the movement is mostly spiritual, you see, they may come because of how beautiful it looks to not be a slave anymore, to sound smart, or to belong to something, or something like that, like to be a teacher now, or whatever that ego may seek to be in the eyes of other egos, or something like that. You see what I mean? So that's why he wants us to know these things. And I didn't know that, right? But I kept it because today is the proper time, you see, to mention that, you see, because it's about authenticity. And that was a very authentic move of himself, you see, to just recognize his own wrong or mistakes or whatever. Like that, when you do that now, you cause those of the lower degrees or monkey selves or something like this to recognize, okay, if this man can make a mistake, so I shouldn't really beat up on myself for having made a mistake, you see. So now you allow ego to openly accept their mistakes, because most of the time when ego don't believe that it should be making mistake, all it's gonna do is try to find excuses and this and that will not make sense to at all, and then to hide the mistakes or whatever it is, when in reality the mistakes are the greatest lessons, you see. Anyone can learn from them, you see what I mean? So we have to understand what it means to be perfect, what it means to be a human being, what it means to be a man, what it means to be a woman, or whatever it is, you see what I mean? So that's all that what authenticity is about. And then to attach this, the statement, now that I've done my due diligence, because I've shared the message on his behalf, or whatever, because we are our ancestors and the spirits move through us. You see, that's the thing. We have to work together, not against one another. You see, so the thing is, like, we can move on to the other part of the talk today, which is AI and the future of the workforce. And to do that, at first, I want to read, and I'm not sure if how it's moving right now, because I have lost signal. You see, and for a bit, and I'm not sure if I'm still coming through properly. It shows that I am live still. You see what I mean? But I don't know what it is. You see. So before I continue, because words of mine are not to be wasted or something like this, and I'm not the type to like to repeat myself too much. So I'm gonna make sure, that we know that it's going the way it's supposed to before I continue. So let's take probably a quick, what do you say, commercial break. That's it. Huh? I'll do it. All right. Let's take a quick commercial break.
This is for my young people. Big Bill, Picasso. I used to sell crack in the trap. Now I make music at least 5,000 a track. Schedules collect dust in the shelf. I go in my cocoon and reinvent myself.
So watch your back to pull out the dagger. I move too fast, coming up the ladder. Greedy in need, but I'm destined to change it. I made it, now I'm blessed. The next generation.
I see blue angels flying in the sky, and I'm reaching high. We keep on winning. I'm living my expectations. This is my presentation to the next generation. To the next generation. To the next generation. To the next generation. I'm extraordinary, yeah, so ordinary. I live my life to the fullest. Why they wanna take it from me? I feel those dark and lonely nights. This is dedicated.
Finally, I can see, I can breathe, I believe. I was angry alone, unhappy and cold, dragging my soul, agony rolls.
My mind's a heavy, y'all. I perceive a future and ask for this gift. I see all these spirits every time that I look in the sky. And only intervention in front of my eyes, for
I
real.
would swallow my problems, roll in the haze, smoke them away. Hoping today would just go away. Holding my faith, no, I won't let go till you open the
This is for
gates.
the youngsters. In the beginning of the future, you ain't gotta be a thug of a hustler. I leave an invitation so you can enter with me into the nation. I see blue angels flying in the sky, and I'm reaching high. We keep on winning. I'm living my expectation. This is my presentation to the next generation. To the next generation. To the next generation. To the next generation. I'm extraordinary, yeah, so ordinary. I live my life to the fullest. Why they wanna take it from me? I feel those dark and lonely nights.
This song is so fitting to the next generation. You see? So, yes, welcome back. Thank you guys for the patience. As you can see, dealing with technology. If the creators are not perfect, imagine our creation. So we can't, and then it is perfect anyway, except that, we have to accept the flaws as part of perfection. That's what it is. We evaluate your terminologies or something to fit the reality, you see, and do not expect to be other than will, you see. So, what would we say? Um, it's somehow to go back to our topic or something like this. I want to make sure somehow, what would I say, to share or to read with you. You see, one quick second. I'm gonna share with you. You see, a reading. Huh? What I want to read with you of the article from Harvard or something. But give me a quick second. We shall do that. Pum, pum, pum. Okay, we wanna bring that out. Okay, and then we choose that. So bear with us. We wanna share it. We could just read it for you, but we wanna make sure to, at least to have it there with you, so that you can at least maybe read for yourselves as you come to this. You see. So yes. So what is it? Literally, it's from Harvard Political Review. I'd say, huh? It's an article that was published by Melody Guan on August 26, 2015. See? So, what it is the name of the article is Rise of the Robotic Workforce. We're gonna read this and then we're gonna explain also a bit about our future as a being, as a society, you know, as a people, as a world, and things like this. Because, to look away from, the reality is not something, that we can expect to help. You just gotta, know your reality so that you may know what to do about it. So the thing is like basically, and most of the time, what we need to do about our reality is simpler than most of our minds tell us, you see. That's why if we move with the heart, then we may not go wrong at all. So the press, it's to start it, is the title, like we said, is from Harvard Political Review. And also we have shared the link in the bio or in the chat even, for those who care to go over it again with their own peers and things like this. Because in these times, if we are not at least, without the ego, or ego in its proper place and knows itself, the least we can be is mature, and or something like this. Because there's someone that I always share, there are three types of people: those that speak about other people, which is the lesser of energy, and those that speak of events, that is the second less, and the highest is those that speak of, you know innovations, and and new things and new ideas, and stuff like this. You see what I mean? Not the exact word, but same ideas. So what it is, it's like, at least if we men and women that's gonna come with each other, we cannot keep on wasting time. You see, specifically if you are not the type to be in that type of environment, or you should be leader or whatever among your peer or whatever, because we understand to have a leader, they have to be followers, whatever. So if you are those of leadership, what I mean, you have to be careful with what you waste your time on and stuff like this, because it may be okay. Because sometimes we're like, oh, how about these people do it? Or children say that a lot. So they may do it, you're not them. You see, that's what it is. So when they do it, if they're in the proper place, it's not a loss on them. That's why it may be to you okay, because you see it doesn't hurt them in any way. But if they are in the proper element, of course they're not gonna be hurt. You see, because their time is only there to serve those who know what to do with time. You see, so if we're not giving them what to do with their time and stuff like this, then of course they're just gonna use it on something of a lesser degree. You see, so the thing is literally is the it's from Harvard Political Review, Rise of the Robotic Workforce, which is the title, by Melody Guan, August 26, 2015. To start, it says the press has recently been awash in stories of worker robots of ever increasingly ability making human labor obsolete. It is true that we are approaching a future of a mechanized workforce where humans need not apply. Experts' opinions on the future of technological development vary spectacularly, as do views on the nature and magnitudes of robotics. impact on society and mankind's ability to adapt. But one thing is collectively agreed upon. Robotics has begun and will continue to transform the workforce in profound and inevitable ways. Fears that automation will lead to unemployment have existed for centuries, but humans have shown a remarkable ability to adapt to modernization of work. While the percentage of Americans that plowed the fields dwindled from 33% to 2% over the last century, for instance, countless unforeseen occupations materialized. Some people believe the present situation to be no different. If robots eventually do some kinds of labor more efficiently than humans, people will simply move on to other work. As University of Pennsylvania School of Engineering and Applied Science Dean V.J. Kumar told the HPR, the implication that jobs will disappear and not be replaced is, I think, completely false. What makes this round of innovation potentially different is that robots have become smart. Computers and other digital advances are doing for mental power what the steam engine and its descendant did for muscle power. Right, MIT initiative on the digital economy co-directors Andrew McAfee and Eric Brynjolfsson in the second machine age. A 2013 paper by Oxford academics Carl B. Frey and Michael A. Osborne predicts that 47% of US jobs are at risk of automation. Smart technologies already exist that demonstrate the vulnerability of white collar service jobs to automation. There are computers that can make medical diagnosis with fewer errors than humans. And one venture capital firm has given a computer algorithm a voting position on its board of directors. Creative jobs are not immune either. There are songwriting robots whose compositions are virtually indistinguishable from humans. And according to a March 7th in the OPED or OPT in the New York Times by Shelley Podolny, robots are responsible for writing a shocking amount of news stories, or prompt the question, how will these technologies affect human employability? Forecasting machine intelligence. Experts disagree immensely in both the outlook for future advances and the perception of the aptitude of present day robots. On the one hand, some believe that technology will never be able to fully compete with the human mind. MIT economics Professor David Arthur told the HPR that the short and medium term consequences of robotics are overhyped because progress is relatively close to a standstill. Moreover, robotics and machinery are still extremely limited in terms of flexibility, adaptability, autonomy, and the ability to make independent decisions. Arthur cited recent stumbles at the DARPA Robotics Challenge 2015, which required robots to complete tasks that would allow them to enter a nuclear reactor and prevent the 2011 Fukushima nuclear disaster. These bots were incredibly slow and incredibly fragile. There's a viral video of one falling down crashing, he recalled. All these headlines and articles saying robots are going to take your job tomorrow are ridiculous. On the other side of the spectrum, though, a group of thinkers believe that it is simply a matter of time before robots surpass the intellectual capacity of humans. Some even predict that this will happen in the foreseeable future. Proponents of the technological singularity, like futurist Ray Kurzweil, in his book The Singularity is Near, believe that humans will design a machine smarter than themselves and launch a cycle of machine intelligences, iteratively improving its own design, leaving mankind in the dust. Based on the reasoning that technological progress has been increasing at an exponential rather than linear rate, some in the school expect this event to unfold within the century. The theory is highly controversial but he has the support of a substantial number of artificial intelligence researchers. Median estimates in the 2012 to 2013 survey of around 550 AI experts were that high-level machine intelligence will develop in the 2040s with 50% chance, and that a super intelligence or any intellect that greatly exceeds the cognitive performance of humans in virtually all domains of interest would develop 30 years thereafter. Perhaps it would be an anthropocentric fallacy to set human intelligence as an upper limit. You see? While it is easy to become mired in dissension about the future of technology, it is more illuminating to consider the different possible effects on the human workforce over the range of technological prospects. To begin, consider scenarios where people maintain distinct advantages over robotics and employment remains high. A situation particularly germane to technological skeptics and near future predictions. The human niche of the future. Even the most conservative projections see robots playing a growing part in the workforce and replacing people in many important roles. Under certain forecasts, however, humans will continue to be employed, albeit in novel ways. Those like Harvard Kennedy School Science and Technology Studies Professor Sheila Janusanoff expect the robotics industry itself to engender new forms of occupation. If you introduce revolutionary new technologies, you change the entire system. These robots won't maintain themselves, right? She remarked in an interview with the HPR. When personal computing devices were introduced, people didn't imagine that the app industry would take off. Human employability optimists also tend to view robotics as powerful but fundamentally inadequate tools that aid rather than replace humans. Humans are better than robots at abstraction, generalization, and creative thinking. And robots can only solve structured problems in familiar environments. MIT Computer Science and Artificial Intelligence Laboratory Director Daniela Ross wrote in a June article in Foreign Affairs. Instead of the singularity, many believe in what University of California Berkeley professor Kane Goldberg dubs a multiplicity, where humans and machines work together in integrated teams, each complementing the skills of the other. This is the vision held by some industry leaders, like in Touch Health founder Yulun Wang, who told HPR that his company medical robots are meant not to supersede medical staff, but to extend the reach of physicians and nurses. Some trust that even if the technical deficiencies of robots are overcome, humans will remain indispensable to the importance of their unique qualities. According to the University of Pennsylvania's Kumar, only human can be counted upon for navigating the ethical decisions constantly required of us. Imagine you are driving a car and see a big truck and a mother with a baby stroller. A self-driving car will think about self-preservation and will run over the stroller. You would make the moral judgment and most likely hit the truck. The desire for a human voice or perceived empathy could lead humans to prize human receptionists over automated ones. And the part of our brain that lights up at the phrase authentic handcrafted may perpetually guarantee a market for the human brain brand. Even if we manage to churn out AI capable of perfect emotional intelligence, humans may prefer having a warm-blooded personal trainer to one of plastic and metal. When human workers are superfluous, at the other side of the debate are experts who envision a future where the number of employable humans reduces substantially. Their more pessimistic predictions stem from a belief that current automation technologies will become more widespread, cheaper, and easier to integrate into the workforce. They may also doubt that the people can always find replacement jobs for those lost to technology, or that humans will maintain a competitive advantage against AI. Many questions the optimists will say that as many new jobs will begin as will be lost from automation. In a Wall Street Journal essay from July 2014, former Secretary of Treasury and Harvard University President Lawrence Summers warned of lasting structural unemployment due to robotic workers. There are more sectors losing jobs to creating jobs than creating jobs. If current trends continue, it could well be that a generation from now, a quarter of middle-aged men will be out of work at any given moment, he predicted. After all, a worker laid off by a bot likely needs to be retrained to achieve higher skills level than before to secure a new job, increasing the educational level of an entire population. However, is a highly daunting and perhaps infeasible task. Training is costly and time consuming. And moreover, as Harvard Business School assistant professor Gautam Mukunda said, the bar for this is how skilled you have to be to not be replaced by a computer. Keeps going up and up. It just might be reaching a point where it's just not reasonable to have some people reach that bar. Period. Besides demonstrating their value, new age workers must also justify their cost. A task where automatons, or whatever, may again have the competitive advantage. Robots do not get tired of. Robots, okay, let's see, what I should read is that may again have the competitive advantage, period. Robots do not get tired and are immune from many human foibles, like greed, pride, and carelessness that undermine businesses' productivity. You see, people, greed undermines business productivity, pride undermines, and carelessness also. They're all carelessness anyway. So that's why you see it's level up or evolve. Even robots are better just because they don't have those sorts of, you know, low self qualities or vices even that undermine businesses' productivity. A 2014 report by the British international management consultancy Jomati Consultants LLP claims that robots will eventually match the work of a dozen low-level associates, level up, at law firms. Between ever more stringent eligibility requirements and a price war with machines, a large swath of humanity may indeed become unemployable. You see? Besides demonstrating their value, New Age workers must also justify their cost. A task where automatons or whatever may again have the competitive advantage. Robots do not get tired and are immune from human foibles like greed. I read that already or what? Okay, is there any evidence that humans are losing out in a race against the machine? The data seems to undermine what Mukunda calls the traditional economist answer that jobs will appear because when productivity goes up, there are always more jobs. In Rise of the Robots, Technology and the Threat of a Jobless Future, Martin Ford claims that the shift by which tools that increase the productivity of workers are themselves turning into workers is responsible for phenomena like unprecedented zero net job creation of the first decade of the 21st century. In an interview with the Harvard Business Review, MIT's Mark Affey and Brent Jeffson similarly described how national wealth and productivity have grown while incomes and jobs have remained stagnant over the same period in many countries. The fact that the middle class has been hollowing out in country after country shows that there seems to be a common underlying force that's affecting all these countries. Brian Jeffson said, we think that force is technology. In the shadow of the Iron Giant, with such a dizzying array of plausible arguments leading down different paths, it may seem like trying to predict the future as far as techno unemployment is concerned is a futile exercise, but societal shocks are almost guaranteed to occur as a result of these technological changes. In the short run, we know with some certainty that some workers will be displaced by robots and by technology, said Harvard Law School labor and industry professor Benjamin Sachs in a conversation with the HBR. If robots become intelligent enough that we do see a long-term displacement of human labor by technology. We need to retake a lot of fundamental things about the way to structure work, the way we structure tasks, the way we structure the social contract. As Mukunda noted, the wave of robotization has already begun. Jeff Bernstein, the president of the Association for Advancing Automation, a trade association for promoting automated technology, told the HBR that even at present, just about every industry is increasing its use of automation these days, from cars and electronics to the aerospace and food processing businesses. China Daily recently reported the start of construction for the first zero labor factory in Dongguan that will scale down if ever when precision technology LTDs human workforce by up to 90%. And Midea, a Chinese electronic appliance manufacturer, plans to cut third of its 30,000 workers by 2018 in favor, which I mean this right now is already passed, in favor of automated systems. Even if Lawrence Summers is wrong that employing workers is in automated industries in the central economic challenge of the future, he was certainly correct that the trends towards increasing automation is inexorable and nearly universal, and that it will usher in upheavals that will be profound in numerous dimensions, maybe unimaginably so. So, as we heard, like many things were touched here. But to point out the problem itself is, you see, it's that's the thing that we need to start, not just pointing out the problems, also open ears for the solutions or even the hearts to solutions as well. Most of the time, if we do not have a solution to a problem, there may be no need to even mention it or something. You see what I mean? Because the thing is like they touch on many things, and but we're gonna focus on things that have to do with what we are talking about today, mostly, right? So, which is okay. The main thing is that okay, it's something like they say. Also, they mentioned that it's something that humans been worried about for centuries. And I do remember since young, I even wrote a paper in school. I believe was it high school or something like this, about that. The future of automation, and you see, and what it means for the workforce or something like that. I remember having written some of this, same thing. So what it is like that's to say that we always were worried about that future, and this is why you see we must understand, you see, because this is issues. Okay, the creators of robotics and AI and stuff like this, they as they are creating, because it is an urge within every human being to be a creator. You see, so what that's just the same in knowing and wisdom. You see, so to create is something everyone or anyone can do, of course. That urge, you see, we're gonna have it because it's natural to who we are. But now wisdom must come to place in that capacity as well, which is what is it that we are creating. But if we are creating things and then also have something to say against it, or to see things how it may not be sustainable in society or in the world, and to even continue doing so, it says a lot about where we are in maturity. You see what I mean? Because a lot of the things that you see, of course, they are not things that new under the sun. We always say that. There's nothing new under the sun. And this is why when we speak on certain things, we cannot help but hurting certain egos and low selves. You see? Why? Because children when they hear parents speak, they can't help but getting hurt, or because they are not mature enough to accept truth for what it is, the healing, you know, potential, or whatever. They just worry about taste and looks and whatever. You see what I mean? Uh, So the thing is like we are creating, and at first, it's always about, okay, why are we creating certain things? It's because, of course, once the human being became to know, many of us, in the reality, we try to think ahead of ourselves, you see, and which is something great. Like I said, if you are on time, then you may be, you know, late. So, of course, to think ahead is a good thing. But who is it that is doing the thinking ahead? You see what I mean? It's all important because remember, it's not just about, okay, we have to be ahead of our time. It's more complicated than that. That's just the basis of it. But ahead of what time? And who is seeking to be ahead of our time? Because we are multidimensional. Which dimensions within ourselves is trying to be ahead? You see? Because if it is a possibility to one dimension, of course it is also a possibility to all other dimensions, even if they cannot achieve it. But so long as it is, presented to them, or it is made known to the other dimensions, the other dimension is gonna feel gravitated towards that, because they want what's best, like any other dimension. I'm not sure if you understand what I mean, but I'm still speaking about self. So the thing is like, basically, when the higher dimensions of selves create, they don't create in detriment to other dimensions or other selves. They create to bring together. Because I was listening to certain scientists, MIT scientists, yesterday, speaking on those topics. And then he was talking about how, and you can see he was a young scientist. And he was speaking on how, and you can tell how proud he was, you see. But proud of what? And who are you? You see, like, that's the thing. It's like, how we aware of ourselves, you see, in when we do, and when we speak, and when we, you know what I mean, and when we are living, or something like that. So the pride was the fact that, as scientists or physicists, they were able to create something that is capable of destroying the universe. And I couldn't help seeing the lacking in self-awareness and in that type of thinking. Because the thing is, like, we have to understand, since we already know that anyone or anything can create, because we are by default creators, then there's nothing big in that. You see, just like knowers, we are by default knowers. We know reality. We are born with certain gnosis. You see what I mean? So that's why knowing is not the end of the game. It's not the upper part of the game. The upper part becomes wisdom. You see, understanding what you know now, so that you may apply it where you should, and not apply it where you should, or something like that. You see what I mean? So let's ask ourselves, as we are speaking right now, truthfully, what would be so prideful about us destroying our own universe? What's the end goal? What's the gain? What's the pride in this? You see, if you cannot see it, so now let's ask ourselves. You see, how long did it take? As an example, let's take the World Trade Center. How long did it take the people to build the World Trade Center? For those who have done this research, if I'm not mistaken, they say what, about from 3 to 30 or something like that, I believe, to complete the task, or the project. And how long did it take us or them to destroy it? A few seconds. Because in reality, it doesn't really take much mind or intelligence to be a destroyer, or to destroy something. You see? It does not. Intelligence is in building, creating what works, and stuff like that. You see what I mean? But to destroy is something of a mindless thing. You see, it doesn't. You don't have to have a mind to destroy. So we shouldn't praise anyone who see power in destruction, even those that are destroying other people's lives, or other people's reputations, or whatever. So long as you are working for the destructive force, you should understand the minimal intelligence it takes to be what you are being. You see what I mean? So it's not in a good or bad situation. It's just knowing things, putting things in proper perspective. Because the universe doesn't see, oh, you better than that one or taller than that. It's not seeing it, except that it's seeing it for what it is and what it represents, which is something as crucial and important as anything else. You see what I mean? So the thing is, like, that's one thing we want to talk about so that we can start asking ourselves the questions. But I understand it is not only the fault of the creators only. It's also the fault of those who expect them to create so forcefully. You see? That's why when we praise, we have to be careful what we are praising. When we belittle, we have to be careful what we're belittling. Because in reality, when you belittle something, it may hurt you and your reality more than it hurts the one that you try to belittle. That's why we're saying that. Reality is somehow too complicated for the ego to understand. And the higher we go in time and stuff like this, the more complicated things become. But as we know that we don't grow smarter automatically, though we grow bigger automatically, it's the same thing too. We're not gonna grow wiser with time. You see, that's the same comparison. You see what I mean? But we have to want to grow mentally. You see, we have to realize that there is more to self than what we know, and leave that door open in a way. Otherwise, we will continue to create a problem to ourselves and then blaming those that are wasting resources and things like this to create certain things that are detrimental to the reality and stuff like this. And at the same time, praising them on the other hand. Oh, yeah, these great people, they achieved this. Oh, yeah, what are you talking about? You see what I mean? That's the thing. It's like it's you we it's you we are the problem. It's that simple. You see what I mean? Because it takes a cause to create the effect. And if you are just the cause blaming the effect, then the effect is just going to continue to be the effect even more so because it recognizes that you are the cause, yet you want to blame it as the effect. Just like, I mean, that effect makes it be the young scientist and the cause as the older ones or the old people or something of older generations that kept on praising creation but not growth, spiritual growth or mental growth and stuff like that. Just, with things like the world doesn't give a damn how you win or where you get where you are, except how you succeed, except that you succeed. These type of things, they may sound good to some degree, you see, but there is a ripple effect to them in time. And this is what we are seeing right now. And of course, there's always going to be, like we say, thanks to the universe and the Great Mother, certain children of hers that's going to be, the indigo children that come to be the change. But of course, we have to create a reality where they can be what they come to be. And some young children are like the Zuckerbergs and you see, what's his name? Elon Musk, and all those you see that are very creative children, and also you see they create, but at the same time pleasing the expectation of societies around them. When I say pleasing the societies around them, it's because the self gratification they get is in the acceptance of the people that they are pleasing more so than they are proud of what they are creating themselves. Why? Because they speak against their own creation. You see what I mean? It's like a urge. It's like something. It's literally bullyism, really, on these children. You see what I mean? It's a peer pressure to create because they want to please dad, they want to please mom, they want to please society. You see what I mean? So society itself gotta be the ground, the fertile ground, the safe net. You see what I mean? For the newcomers, for the new children that come with solution, so that they are presented with a ground, to flourish as what they already are, but not to bend to what society expects them to become. That's why I cannot blame them. I cannot, you see what I mean? Because I see it's not something of a one side issue. We all have to do with that. You see what I mean? And this is why when I'm speaking, I may be to a monkey or a stupid person very, confused or something because they don't understand anything of what I'm talking about because it's too much for the capacity of their minds. You see, but for those of you who are able to fathom or understand any words that are coming out of my mouth, it is indeed your role to make sure that you go and regurgitate the same situation or these same concerns or the same wisdom or whatever it is to your immediate peers, like the followers of yours. Because really, the game is, as right now, we think it's about gaining followers to make a few bucks. It's really more than that. There is a real life going on as there is the game going on. You see what I mean? That's why you see what I live in a way that is, most of us keep on talking about status quo is fucked up, whatever. Yet we are the status quo. We are the one pushing the status quo in every bit of our affairs. You see what I mean? Because to see a change, you have to start to be that change. You see? And what is that change in the status quo that I started being myself? Instead of trying to clout chase or run after those with great platforms, I create my own. That's one movement. Second movement is that once I have the platform, instead of calling those that can bring attention to my platform, I may call those who have something great to offer, yet have not the followers that can help me get big followers. And that's me challenging the status quo with my own being. And I call everyone to have the capacity of minds and heart and power to do the same. You see? Because what it requires of us when we need change may be simpler than we think. Most of the time we keep looking for the higher things, like to understand certain things that we have no idea about. Creating this or that, blah, blah, to change something when simply the answer is staring at you. Just be that change. You see? And how does that relate to AI, whatever, and how does it bring them all into one thing? It's because in these times, as we are all clout chasing and trying to be relevant or saying all sorts of nonsense, because it's okay that we speak because we are speakers. We have a mouth. That's the danger we pause. You see what I mean? We have a mouth, yet not enough understanding. So, of course, we're going to talk shit like we always do. But for every shit we talk, there's going to be a lot of things that come out of that. You see? That's why unless you have something good to say, shut the fuck up by all means, like the ancestors say. You see what I mean? And why do we say that? It's because we cannot help seeing our fault in things. Even the Prophet, great one, Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him, said there are two things, and we regurgitate these words to you. Two things in the human body. If the man or the woman can control them, I guarantee them paradise. And he says these two things, what's between your jaw and what's between your legs. Two powerful forces. You see, one is the gate to the higher realms, one is the gate to the lower realms. You see? That's just what it is. Just be careful with what you do with those. Creative forces. One creates mentally, the mouth, and one creates physically, what's between the legs. So regardless of which one you're using, you are either creating mentally or spiritually, or you're creating physically, and all of it together. You see what I mean? So that's why most people will think, overreacting, whatever. Sometimes trust me, I do want to feel or say, I want to agree with them when they say, or people tell me you overreacting. Trust me, there's a piece or part of me that so agree and want that. Why? Because we want the excuse to just act stupid, act a fool, and fuck everything, fuck society, fuck, like we always say. You see what I mean? But at the same time, there's a part, the wolf within self that we feed the most, that keeps reminding you of the dangers of of or how you call it, the responsibility of a powerful being or powerful creator or this and that. You see what I mean? Because these young scientists, we cannot put the burden on them. Like, okay, they're creating blah blah blah. They are doing the best they can according to what they understand and the resources they have available. You see, but since there have been a misrepresentation of the wealth of the planet and misuse and misappropriation and all of these things, then of course those who may have the resources only are gonna put it at the disposal of their own miserable gains and agendas. You see? But how can we even help ourselves if we just doing with it and going along with it and then being a smaller version of the same and trying to criticize and whatever, blah 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 blah. You see what I mean? That's what it is. But when you see also, why do we say that after saying all this in the article, that automation? So who are the two that I couldn't help seeing? What was the best thing that I always wanted my children to be, even myself, and even in my own family? One of the greatest trade or thing that you can learn and stuff like this and become is what? Is to be a doctor. But now the young doctors, now it's like an end to the human doctors with this right now. So now young doctors have to, learn who they are for the future to be relevant. Because in reality, how can you face? Because these things are not really what you came to do. You just, okay, find something to do. But we thought they were the greatest thing. But now it's a machine. We create machines to do them better than us. Why? Because this is not what makes the human great. It's not what you do like you think. You see what I mean? So when these machines gonna do that now, become the best operators on the operating table in the hospitals, the best diagnosers and stuff like this, those that bring the diagnosis perfect, way more perfect than a human, with less chance of error. And right now, all the young doctors I know, I mean, the one thing they always worry about is the high insurance prices they have to pay because of the human error, thing or whatever. You see what I'm saying? So now, if they're gonna create robots to do it, of course, any company or any hospital that can afford these machines, are gonna charge to maintain these machines. And what is the human or those doctors gonna be reduced to? Serving these machines. So now, what is the trades of the future for a doctor? Except that you learn to fix the machines, become a mechanic, not of the human body, the organic body anymore, but for the machines that are the mechanics of the human body. You see? So engineering is a very good place to be. You see? Right now. So, because that's not the fixer, but the creator of the machine. You see? So now, and also another thing that we see, we can project is with the cryptocurrency that we have no choice but to attach to this article, even though they did not mention that. You see? But we couldn't help seeing also that, okay, AI is gonna be the best to deal with the tax returns when it comes to crypto balancing books and stuff like that. You see? Because I was listening to this podcast not too long ago. What's the name of the podcast? Shout out to these brothers. You see what I mean? Because as you can see, they are the young ones that are ahead of their time trying to, speak on relevant matters and stuff like this. You see? And I'm so grateful for having, known of them. I think it's called Blockchain or something, the name of the podcast. So what it is, they are the young, person. I believe it was episode 37, the ultimate cryptocurrency tax solution with tax token or something by the young one who created the app, the AI to do that work. I believe it's whatever the name was. I cannot tell the name. Blockchain Innovation. That's the name of the podcast. I think Michael Folland or something. Episode 37, blockchain innovation. Listen to these guys because cryptocurrency is to be or is seeking to be the money of the future, right? Because money can change. Why? Because it's not the value. It is just the medium of exchange between values. You see, you and I are the value. Like what I'm talking to you about is the value. What blockchain innovation brings to you is the value. But the money is what? Is your attention and whatever medium of exchange you may have to offer. This is why it's so important that we understand the word being what you call it what's authentic or something like that. It's very important to these times. You see what I mean? Be the best human that you can be. And this is why we even spoke about that when we mentioned that the heart lead with the heart. Because if you are leading with the mind, there's a greater mind, synthetic mind that came programmed by the organic mind to be greater or better than the mind that creates it. So the only way you can be on top of that mind is if you are leading this with something that these machines may not have, which is the heart. And as you can see, they already show you the weaknesses of the man and the strength of the ego, whatever the ego seeks strength in, which is greed, this, that, blah, 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 are weaknesses to the higher self. And the machines are not gonna project this type of lower frequencies. So to be better than these machines, you have to be able to vibrate higher than your greed. Otherwise, how better can you be than these machines? What better how can you offer these machines? And the next problem is what? With whom? The young how you call it? Bookkeepers or how you call that? Those that balance the books or something like what's the name of that trade? You feel me? So ah, see the term just it escaped me for a minute. But you know what I mean. Those that balance your yearly books or whatever, quarterly, blah blah blah, whatever. The accountant. Thank you. So the thing is like the accountant now, the accounting is gonna have to take. It's already taking, as you can see, the young Michael Fullen created the AI app that can do a better job than any human can. And them who have like a background in accounting, they already see how complicated it is to balance crypto books. You see, it's close. If regular humans they couldn't deal with the paper money on their own, they had to pay H&R Block, this, that, whatever tax places to help with that. Imagine the crypto. Even those that used to do the books for those who couldn't now gonna need to learn how to do books with crypto, and they may not be able to even stand a chance. So what is to become of the accountant now? You see what I mean? So that's the thing. That's what it is. Time changes. You see? But if you are leading with your heart, you can never lose because you're going to choose things not according to the time you're living, but according to all time. You see? Because the gnosis of the heart, encompasses time itself. But when you go with the mind, that is the brain mind or whatever, then that is only just capable of seeing what's in front of it. May not even see further than It knows, Willie. You see what I mean? So that's the thing. So as we are talking about the problems and that we are creating for ourselves, but which is not really a problem, really, because there's always a solution to every problem, and the solutions existed before the problems. This is why that doesn't matter what time it is. There's always a few beings that are doing great anyway. Why? Because they are ahead of their time. You see, every problem creates an opportunity to those who think bigger than themselves. You see what I'm saying? So the thing is like it's what is the solution to this? It's none other than what we're already taking. Become a human being. I mean, it's not a God, because like we say, a God don't belong in this reality. You are that God, of course. Indeed, we accept that. This is who we are. When we come into the game, the third dimensional game, then we chose to put on a human suit. So therefore, we have to be human. We take on limitations. So that's why once we realize that we are that God, then what happens? You go back to being human. You don't go into being God. You just go back to being human, because there's nothing in being God. Because God created human in the first place for one specific reason: to experience itself. You enjoying the experience, you loving the experience. That's why Sevan, the great brother whom I admire so much, he even said once that after you do all that, he went all these places, different dimensions, this and that in his mind. And then now he came to the reality of, okay, now you have to do the dishes, you have to do laundry, you have to do, you see what I mean? Because that's what it really boils down to. Go back to being human. What else? Except that it's a better experience being human now, because you know that you are more than what you see. So now whatever used to make you cry, you get to see the positivity of it. Life become, that beautiful journey it was meant to be. Because the minute that you start crying about things is because you lose your way, you lose yourself. You don't know who you are. You think this is your situation is you. There's no changing it, and you're waiting for that savior through the clouds. You see what I'm saying? So the thing is like basically it's just the best thing is what I was already talking about. To become the best version of yourself. That human being, that true human being, with all the greater qualities. Evolve. Because what it is like the robots are not gonna have your weaknesses. The greed, the need to the need to chase money, the need for this, the need for that. Those are weaknesses that those scientists creating these robots are looking down upon. Yet we live our lives according to them. You see what I mean? Disrespecting our own selves. That's why I had to always be compassionate and understanding. Why? Because every time you throw words or you say something, I can't help but seeing the monkey thing in it and feel compassionate and feel pity. Because in reality, no one can disrespect anyone else greater than they are already disrespecting themselves. So stay quiet and understand. That's it. Let them be. Let them project their insecurities. Let them whatever. You see what I mean? Because that's how healing starts. First, you have to start throwing up. Throw away the bad things. It's all a process. Those who seek to help them, you have to have that thick skin already. To take it. And to know that you are that God that is not fazed by it. Understand what it is, because that's what love is, understanding. You see what I mean? How can you love what you do not understand? You can't. And this is why I couldn't care less about people loving me, because I know I'm not really that type of monkey that can be understood so easily. You see what I mean? So how can I expect love from anyone? Once I am loved, then now I'm in awe, because I'm like, I can't help but seeing that person for what they are, something higher than most. Because to understand something, you have first to be that something. You see what I mean? So it's not about, oh, I'm great, I'm whatever this retarded thinking, you know what I'm saying? It's just what it is. And my podcast is about helping us evolve. This is, like I said, Wisdom Gate, as I originally called it, or the bridge from your lower to your higher, from your whatever, from your monkey self to your human self. You see what I mean? Whatever you want to call it. You see? So that's what it is about. We speak on things that can help us evolve. Anything that can really divide us or whatever. And when I say divide, I'm not speaking on, or like, I'm speaking on all level. You see, I mean, even the ones that may be leading the world, taking their 1%, and showing there's no difference really. You see what I mean? It's all these disparities, all these divisive mindsets. It's only obvious that it is lacking understanding. You see what I mean? That's all that is. And if there's any lacking, then how can we create anything, substantial or full? You see what I mean? So that's what it is. It's the time now that we have a different experience. You see, a better experience. But we won't have it if we stand in the way, in our own way. Because obviously, I don't stand in my way. That's why I can open this platform and assist and help myself and myself. You see what I mean? And this is what the ancestors ask of us. Each one teach one. You see what I mean? So the thing is, like, I didn't want to use the word teach because the egos among us, in every ego is a teacher. So, but the egos will feel bad to be needing a teacher. Yet they don't know that the student is the teacher, because every teacher had to be student before they become the teacher. And if you are a teacher, then you will always be that student, because they exist simultaneously within the same being. So there's not really, I could have made it harder, to tell you the truth, by coming like, okay, I'm gonna teach you this. I play with people's ego so hard, to the point where they destroy themselves. Like, you see what I mean? For their own good, of course. But at some point, let it be, because it's, what is it except what it is? It's just a passive game, you see, with great ramifications, of course, because like, what's his name say, Alan Watts, it's not a trivial game, yet a game nonetheless. You see what I mean? Because like we say, we created that game. Okay, the God self created this game in order to experience itself. All the different dimensions or parts of selves. You see what I mean? That's the name of the game. That's the end of it. You see, it's as simple as that. You see? But we have to, in these times, that's why you see we are ahead. Many people may follow because whatever, blah, blah, blah. But every time you're moving with your heart, you just realizing people are doing the same. Like, you're not gonna be the only one, but most may not be doing it for the same reason. Like, many people open the platform because it looks good to have followers. That's why they will do whatever it takes to get followers. Most people will open a platform because it's easy and it gives them something to do. It gives them like some type of worship or whatever. When they used to be looked down upon, of course now the tables are turned, so they got a chance to be relevant. You see, that's the thing. There's different reason behind the doings of a human being. But which one is more potent? Which one is really valuable? That's why many of these monkeys, or including me, we may be taking, we only worrying about which one has more followers. Status quo, the same thing we fight. But it's not really, we say monkey because it's what it is. No disrespect to the true monkeys or something like that, the real monkeys. in the reality, but the human beings, you are on your own. But the thing is, like, basically, it's just you see, it's literally what I forgot the thought. You know what I mean? But in these times, what is the solution? Like we say, is the same things that we are doing already. You see, because right now the value of the human being is not gonna be in in what he can do, really, but what he can say, mostly. Because if you have speech and that differentiates you from other animals in the reality, so there must be something great about speech. You see what I mean? Yes, we look down on it because many monkeys are talking all sorts of shit coming out of their mouths or whatever. You see what I mean? But of course, we belittle speech because if we're not great in ourselves, everything we have cannot be greatness, including speech. Yet, we know those who know better know speech. If we have speech and are the only one in the reality to be with that, then there have to be something great about that. So that's why it's in the end it's gonna come back to what it was. The power is not in the stupidity or the shiny objects you're creating, but it's in your essence, who you are. And once you are who you are authentically, then whatever comes out of your mouth is also powerful. And these words are what precedes the creation of worlds. Those are the commands that create. You see? But a lot of podcasters may disagree. Of course, we welcome all that. Many may feel like, well, yeah, whatever, we're not following the trend or we're not doing it like everyone. But we cannot be mad at at other podcasters because what it is with the small mind, it's not meant to be unique in its own self. It's meant to belong in a group. That's why when people are telling you what they are calling, but that calling may be as deep, as loud as it is. But if you are not that, if you are not a commoner, then of course there's gonna be something repelling that call. So which one is gonna be loud in you? Because in reality, it's not the commoners that is the problem, but it's the one who don't belong there. It's wherever you are, if you don't belong, then there's a problem. Because if you are to be one with uniqueness and you are among commoners, then there's a problem. A piece out of place. It's like when you are putting a puzzle together, every piece gotta be in its own place, proper place. So when some people are calling you, we may be doing the same thing, but the same thing based on commonality or the same thing based on uniqueness. Yes, we may be doing podcasts, but certain podcasts may be about commonality. Specifically, if it's about money making, this, that, blah, blah, blah. That's common folk situation. You see? Those who are leading are not talking about those type of things. You see? That's what we have to understand. And it's not about good, bad, it's just what it is. To make the ego feel better in its place, the one that you see that may be a commoner today, it chooses that lifestyle before it even was created. Because we are that God before we come in reality. We create the path. Because if there were already one who came and helped out reality, there were great gurus, great wise men. Let's say Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him, or Jesus for some reason, whoever wanna come back, they may not want to come back in that type of lifestyle where they're not really worried about enjoying the shiny objects or whether you see they may sign up to be the commoner. Of course, within them is always gonna be the calling to be unique because this is who they are substantially. But in the game, they chose to be a commoner. Why? Because of the perks that entail. You see what I mean? Because the same way you are a leader, it may be attractive because people love listening to you saying at your feet, whatever. There's a downside to that because you don't have that same time. When you travel, you only travel to go speak. You only travel to go help out something, whatever. When the commoner travels to go have fun or fuck some bitches, just forgive my French. You see what I mean? It all have goods and bad, low and high, whatever. But there's really no need to keep feeling bad because if you are feeling bad, take me for it. Because I'm just being that catalyst of the pain that is reminding you of where you don't belong. Because if you choose to be whatever you are and you don't like people saying it, that only means that okay, there's a need for change. You see? If you don't like people calling you a thief and it hurts your feelings, it means you're not a thief. Because a true thief, when you call him a thief, he laughs in your face because there's nothing wrong with that. He doesn't see or she doesn't see nothing wrong with it. Don't you ever see movies of thieves, great thieves, stealing artifacts and whatever? I mean, one with that great actor, one of my favorite, A-list elder generation. Uh, Not Pierce Brosnan. I think Pierce Brosnan have a movie like that too, where he's a great thief or something, stealing great things for great people and selling them for the highest bidder. You call this? They literally tell women or other women they meet, whatever who they are. I'm a thief. They're not worried. What's miserable to them is when you are a thief of despicable things. You see what I'm saying? Like small stupid things. If you're gonna be a thief, be a thief. Steal things of great value. Put some value on your fucking self. Like put some respect on that shit. Like they would say. You see what I mean? But if someone called them thief, as you can see, they call themselves that. But if someone called the same way someone is proud to be that, if it hurts someone else, what does that tell you about the reality? You are out of your element. This is not who you are. So you have to take people that arises that pain from within you. Because they are literally showing you that you are out of place. So when I call you a monkey, I call you this, I call you all that, whatever, that anything that I say that pain you, you better see that money in my bank account. That's how you have to see it. Because that's the reality of it. But if we are little children with diapers full of shit, then of course we're gonna wanna bite the hands that feed us. You see what I mean? Because that's how we're going in the reality anyway. Blaming the messenger, hating the pain and feeding it with all sorts of chemistry to tame it. You see what I mean? That's how we are living anyway. So that's how I'm able to understand it. Because I myself find myself taming my own pain at times. You see what I mean? But at the same time, I do recognize the differences as well when it's time for it. You see? I may tame certain pain, but I may not tame certain pain. But those who seek to tame all pain, that's not the right way to go because there's no such thing as all of something in this reality. You see what I mean? So we have to, I'm just literally trying to help us work with one another with these words and help us accept where we are without feeling any way with these words. Because what's the need for speech if there's not a change that can come out of it? I mean, a much needed change. A change that's going to facilitate other changes. You see? That means it's first going to allow you acceptance, meaning accepting where you are, your level, accepting that. And then from that ground, you may reach higher ground. You see what I mean? Everything we say have to have a purpose. That's why I really don't understand people that are talking bad about Hollywood for having an agenda. Or whoever has an agenda for having an agenda, making it seem like it's a bad thing when everyone should have an agenda. Because what is a purpose except that it is an agenda? Most of the time we hear people speak and talking shit about others, They're only saying the same thing they are doing themselves. That's why the thing that the phrase that woke me up was, you look, why do you judge other people because they sin differently than you? I'm not the type to lie to myself. Hell no. I'm gonna accept it. And when the pain come, I'm not gonna hit the one who pointed out. That's why what I learned to do in life, instead of criticizing pain, I learned to accept pain as a friend. You see what I mean? And that alone led me to highest heights. You see? That's what it is. You just gotta do these type of things. Accept it. Because can we get rid of it? Can we really, like, do you understand what you're asking? To be gotten rid of pain is to be gotten rid of life. Because to feel pain is an indication of what? Life itself. Because how can you feel if you're not alive? You see? So any podcasters, anyone who is against, or anyone who holds a mouth, who may be against what I'm saying, what I want to say is that you are not wrong for being against it. You have your reason. Therefore, my job is to respect that reason. And also, my job is not to seek to please you, not to give you a reason to feel the way you are feeling already. Because I have no power over how you feel. The only power is what I do. You see what I mean? As I respect what you do, you can only return the favor. And that's how we live amongst each other as human beings. You see what I mean? So it's not to try to change everyone. You have to understand the differences and the diversity of life, and why diversity is life. And accept everything and everyone for what they are. Because most of things that we are fighting is about, you see, like I was just listening to, because like I said, I'm not the type to just come and run my mouth. I listen to. And I was listening to this young brother whom I share all the time, you see, speaking to another one about gayism and transgenderism and stuff like this. But I couldn't help but seeing that, yes, those are the arguments we may have now, but we are really late with them, because these things are already apparent, they're already rampant, they're already open, they're already doing what they do. So talking about it's only furthering the same agenda. It's not gonna really do anything except furthering it. That's why we already tell you that before it was something, closed behind closed doors, matter of darkness, you see, dark side of the moon within the being. But now it's in the open. Why? Because someone's nose was too long and got into somebody else's business somehow, whether with the heart in the right place or not. You see what I mean? That's why it's not only about being good in life. You just gotta know, because the same, even in Islam, I learned that the devil itself can use your own good against you. You do good, 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 and he tells you to do so much good to the point that he misguides you. Because life is a balance. Therefore, we have to learn not to see it as good and bad. See it for what it is and what it can offer. You see what I mean? That's why I can never really mislead no one, because I'm not arrogant at all. I'm not going to tell you what to see or what it is. I'm going to help you see for yourself. Open your own eyes. I have nothing to teach you. I have nothing to tell you. I have nothing to show you. I'm just speaking to you. Of course, those who of lesser degree will always be led of speech, like I say. You see? But speech is the only thing we have that the others don't in the animal kingdom. Do they fornicate? Yes or no? Do they build for themselves? The ants build communities. They do all of these things that we take pride in. They build tools. They do all of these things. But what is it that they don't do? Is speech. So if I don't help you understand the power in speech, then I am to blame. for the future ills of our world. You see what I mean? Because specifically for now, for every opportunity present a downside also of the same. Now platforms, whatever people are talking, that's why you see many people are against YouTube and what they are doing. But if they open a platform that allow you a voice, but what if you're not worthy of a voice? Of course, it's easier for them to allow people to come and entertain the monkeys because keep the monkeys entertained. It's better. But if you're gonna come as a problem solver, then you have to know first that you are the problem. You see what I mean? That's what it is. That's what you have to understand. And work with these platforms because, of course, now no one and nothing is perfect. But as they know they're not perfect, they have to make sure they safeguard themselves as the creators and the maintainers of the platform. Because many of us are coming speaking ills on things in society, which is something, of course, that first thing is to point problems, yeah, but really in reality, do human beings need to be pointed out the problems? Are we that stupid? Nah. The only reason we should point out the problem is only when we already have the solution for it. But if we don't have that solution, then by all means. Thank you. You see? So that's what it is. You see? So we are at a venue or avenue in life where in time, let's say in time, where there's so much potential. You see, it's like the 0 point, like the people of the zeros would say. Like people like 0 Point University. Shout out to the brothers and sisters of 0 Point University. Also, Evolution Zero. Shout out to the people of Evolution Zeros. All the zeros. Because they understand 0 Point. The power, the magnitude of the number. The startup of it all. The potentiality itself. The ground. So we have a fertile ground in time. While we want to just regurgitate the old things and we want to just, what? Do the same thing over? Or do we allow something better, something new, which is expected of us in the time? That's why you see, I understand, yes, people need to survive. They need this. Yeah, we don't seek to belittle nothing. Everything is needed. You see? But perspective matters. You see? We have to know what is what, and everyone has to be comfortable in their shoes. And this is why when people are speaking in the left mind, left brain, right brain, fighting, whatever, left heart, right heart, whatever, there has to be a point of commonality, a 0 point mindset that can just melt it all into one. Because in reality, we are. You see? But of course, the divisive part is all essential in the reality. Why would we all go to the same path anyway? Of course, there's beauty and blessing in that as well. But it's to losing ourselves into it as it is the thing that may be the problem. You see what I mean? There's nothing wrong. Like, okay, the left, right, blah, 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 this, that. Everything happens. It happens for a reason. Seek understanding. That's what it is. But for the new time, now it's really not about the children. That's why I say to those, I know I'm not that dictator to tell people what to do, but even in my own family, you see what I mean? It's like, okay, what is the future for these children? Okay, they may be of old mindset. Oh, you have to become a doctor. There's not a bright future for the doctors nowadays unless you can turn that that medical degree into something, you know, technological or something like this. Like if you can create, you know, apps and AI things that can, you know, somehow, you know, continue in the field or something like that. So now it's all about, you know, allowing the children to know themselves, let them be, let them live, let them understand, let them, you see, I mean, invest even at least in their arts. Like that's why when school, my children's school asked me if there's anything to change in the school, what would your advice be? I always go back to the arts because that's the heart expression. And then this article says even in the arts that the robots may surpass the human. But with all the respect, I beg to differ. Why? It's because when it comes to the art, it's not about following a straight line. And I did write an article about that on my page. Going outside the lines. Even the Picassos, you see, show us the beauty in doing so. You see what I mean? But people like what's his name? I always forget the artist's names. You see, but never their works. So the thing is like basically they will draw in ways, you see, that is unconventional, unorthodox. You see? But at the same time the beauty is just blinding. That's the thing with the human beings. The robot may be able to draw a straight line or draw in straight line better than the human without a tool or something like that. But if the human being is dealing with the heart, then it's gonna bring something with full life into being within its art. Because in the art of the human being is something that may not be in the art of the robot, a story. That's why it's all about the human being at the end of the day. Do you know yourself? Do you value yourself? You see what I mean? Not for what you have, but for just simply being yourself. Do you understand what it is to be yourself? Authentically. You see? Can the robot offer art that has, because don't you ever see the people of course, like robots art is gonna be for the poor, I would say, to tell you the truth, because there's always gonna be a bread to a butter for the poor, meaning it doesn't have the human essence. It's just like having something synthetic instead of organic. Same thing. It may be cheaper because there's no story behind it. That's why when it comes to the art, I beg the human beings to, invest in yourselves in the art. Invest yourself in the art. And if you are already doing so, continue to do even more. And if you never think of doing so because of the pressure of your society and your immediate family, whatever, make sure you stand against that pressure. You see? Because this is the only thing that's gonna give you value in this time and place with AI among us. What you have to offer that no machine can. Like we say, if you're a great brain surgeon, you're in for a surprise. Because you cannot beat AI in doing a better surgery. And AI will give every hospital a less need of high cost insurance. You see? Or something like that. Just understand what's going on, understand the time that we create for ourselves. So in the arts, this is where we have to be. You see, that's why even though I don't play guitar, I know my way around the piano a little bit, but I'm still playing around with the guitar. And all I want to do right now is that's always was my mind anyway. I always loved music and art. But seeking understanding and seeking self or something like this, I tame that artistic self. But taming it doesn't mean killing it. It was always there, growing stronger. And this is why in everything I touch artistically, it's gonna just scream out. And that's the beauty that people cannot help but feeling. That, whatever you call it, a pain or a joy, whatever you're gonna sense in the art. And this is what the human being's gonna have to offer that the AI cannot. But how can you offer something better than AI when you don't have that authenticity within yourself? When you are following the commoners, or you are just belonging? You can't be better than AI. You literally, like the article say, pointless. Which is why the 1% see that, okay, 89% of these monkeys can go. Because they're just copies of each other. What do we need all this for? Of all these of the same anyway. Yeah, we may need a few of it, but why all that? 9 billions? Fuck out of here. You see what I mean? That's just maintaining things, you see? But is that all we are? No. But so long as you open yourself to evolution, then of course you are the creators of the future. So once you change your heart today, the future changes right then and there too. Where you were not, where you were pointless, you become very important. You see what I mean? So we have to invest in the arts, in ourselves. And the children, you see, that's why I told the school, the only thing I vouch for is the arts. You took that away, but this is what, kept the children sane. This is what kept them busy, their mind going, their mind fertile, fresh. Art. Because with the art, you're not seeking to make sense. You're just expressing yourself without expectation of sense. You're just expressing yourself. That's it. And then those who learn to enjoy the arts, those who learn to just admire a piece on the canvas or something like this, they will find their own senses into what they're looking at. That's why I love these people when they're just staring at a piece of art. No one can understand why, yet they are seeing so much. And then me myself, I could have been one of those monkeys who make fun, like, these people are stupid. But I seek to understand, like, okay, nah, this man is not that stupid. If he's just staring at this piece of art like this, then he must be seeing something. What is he seeing that I'm not seeing? Instead of belittling him, I belittle myself, my own understanding. Why am I not understanding why he's staring? That's the question. It's not to quickly make yourself above it, like, oh, I'm better because look, he's staring at a piece of garbage. Yet he's willing to pay millions of his dollars that you may not have for it. One man's garbage is another man's treasure. You see what I mean? So that's what it is. I learn to just learn, observe and learn. You see, live, love, laugh and learn. You see, because if he's staring, he's seeing something. Because for the people that are making so much money, time is the highest asset. They don't waste that. If you see them standing in front of a piece of art, that's well worth time or well invested time. You see? So that's the thing with the human. Something simple, a dot in between, in the midst of a canvas. You see? This is empty space. Point zero is looking at nothing, which is everything. You see? But if you seek to be something, then without me having to say, you're only saying that you are. Thank you. You see? That's the thing. That's why once you understand now, decisions is not about pleasing society anymore. Because let's say with everything that I understand, if I made my calling chasing money like everyone else, though I am chasing whatever, like opportunities, maybe, whatever, I don't know. But I'm living, that's all I see. So if I just make it about oh, money this, money that, money this, money that, and I get it because I have the capacity to even buy and sell every one of y'all. So now I get all of that, then everything I say now is gonna be valuable to the monkeys who may not even understand what I'm saying. So now that they take what I say and go regurgitate it, and then they may misguide because I made it too easy, because they are looking at what I have on the outside to know if they can regurgitate what I'm saying. Because, but to not be in the capacity to regurgitate these words, now you're gonna raise certain questions and whatever into people that you may not be able to have the next saying too. Because for every one word, there's ripple effects, and for every ripple effect, there's gonna have to be words to continue to guide those words. That's why only the one can guide the one. You see what I mean? You are your own guide. Why? Because for every door you open, you're gonna have other questions. And then only if you can trust yourself, or you know in yourself that whatever you can be trusted, whatever, only then you can continue to win in the game. That's why many people will continue, and then at the end of the day, make a fool of themselves, because there's gonna be a point where, if it's not originally authentically from your own heart, or a point where you're not gonna be able to navigate anymore. You're gonna have to lose yourself and hide yourself somewhere, because you cannot answer to these questions you raised. You see what I mean? That's why you see as we move on a way where we could put safety nets for everyone and safety wheels, whatever it is, you see, because we understand the power of speech, unlike the many. You see? So now that's why we have to agree with YouTube for censoring things. You see? Because that's their platform, they are responsible for what they open up. Opening up voice boxes, that's Pandora's box, dudes. You see what I mean? It's a whole other level of evil that you can unleash doing that, unless they are responsible for their own creation. How many people you see on YouTube, though their heart is in the right place, but they are still led by ego? They still have not having an agenda is not a problem, but they have a lower self agenda, meaning a self-sustaining agenda. That means they don't think, which is not wrong, because ego exists for that specific reason. This is the ego's job, to sustain itself, and to so that it can continue to serve that spirit. But when you in the low mentality and not being aware of the higher, then when you are sustaining, you're only sustaining for yourself, the ego self, which is an illusion, and then now you're just sustaining for nothing. Because everything the ego gets is supposed to be at the service of the spirit. That's the equation. That's the way it's supposed to be done. You see what I mean? But if we take our egos as the highest being, the highest self, the master, that the ego is the lousiest of masters, but the best of servants. But if your ego is the master in you, then you feel me? So that's what it is. Authenticity. It's very important. But it's more than what we understand of it now. You see? It's more than your story. Like most of us think, okay, we sell our stories, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It makes us look good. But it's really nobody's business. Not everybody really gives a fuck about no one else's business. I don't give a fuck, to tell you the truth. You know what I mean? Forgive my French. I never ever give a fuck about nobody's business because mine is too complicated and too much for my own self to even have time to worry about anyone else's. But if it is, of course, something that I can learn from it, I will. You see what I mean? But when we say authenticity, it's just being yourself. Your story may be yours, and it's your choice to share or not. Yet, you being you is enough. Because when I say that, that is the highest truth. Why? Because that's the only way things can be without a problem coming back to you being yourself. If you don't understand what it is to be yourself and how enough it is in the reality, then you offer a story, then you may offer something that you shouldn't have. Just like the sister I said yesterday on Facebook, it's like, okay, you may share your weaknesses to people, and then now you cause another debris to be going, into an already going storm. She put it in a poetic way. It's so beautiful. I love a woman that can speak poetically. Please. You see what I mean? It's just you so understand. They say so much in so few words. You see? So that's the wisdom of the woman. You see, because poems is something of the feminine. They will speak great wisdom in just a few words, and so beautifully too. But men are storytellers, indeed. So what it is basically because certain things are for your growth. Meaning, let's say you're the sun that shines in the sky. Certain things are for you to become a bigger sun. You see? To grow yourself in spirit. But and as you become a greater spirit, then your light shines upon someone else's to be that same greatness. Not a copy of you, but to be that same greatness. You're opening that same door to someone else, as there's a connection between you and that someone else. You see? But that darkness is only for you. That's why once you share it, now you give people a say. And then you want to take it back, but you can't because that's speech. It's out. You see what I mean? It's a darkness that, why do you think it's darkness? If it belonged in light, then it would be in the light. Nothing is forced in this reality. It is where it is. You see what I mean? So but darkness is like I was telling you last time, is like it's what you call in business, private and public. So if you want to lie to yourselves, saying that, my life is public or open, whatever, we're lying to ourselves. How could you be authentic lying to yourself? Because how are you going to say, when you are everything, you are a macrocosm of the macrocosm of the universe, you are the planet of the earth, there's places on the earth that no light ever shines. And that's why when we bring our little synthetic lights into this depth of the Mother Earth, we find things that we shouldn't find. And we face out certain things that we may never see the light again. Because these things don't belong into the light. It's not that they're evil or this, that. It's just that they don't belong into the light. There's no such thing as seeing things, or good, bad, evil, blah, blah, blah. The only evil is when it's where it's not supposed to be. Like me being a commoner or a poor monkey. Only in my mind. You see? That's what it is. We just gotta understand the way things work. Most of the time people will say, oh, I did it. Nah, come on, monkey. What are you talking about? You are your great. The only thing you should fear is your own self with that mouth in your face. You see what I mean? That's what you have to understand. That's why everyone who ever knows something, don't you see, they always seek to tame that mouth. In Hollywood, the only thing they want to tame is not your dick, so They want to tame your mouth. Do whatever the fuck you want, but tame that mouth. So is action really the greatest thing? If it was, everyone would something would want to tame your actions, not your mouth. But I understand we only see what we are told to see. But this is what reality is when you are seeing it for what it is, but not what you are told. You see? So there is all sorts of speech and whatever, but I say your story is yours. You want to share it, it's your business. Of course, if you're seeking some financial gratification, whatever, just like some women may sell their asses, you may sell your story. You see what I mean? That's, you do with it whatever you will. Because it has the potential to become whatever you want it to be. You see what I'm saying? But at the same time, beware of the ramifications. Beware that, the return may not be as pleasant as the gain. To the point where you may even regret having the return because of the gain, because of what comes back. You see what I mean? How many people, what I'm saying? Even the gay community was supposed to be something private and whatever. That's how this existed very long. But those who know better know to keep that part. That's their business. It's whatever they do between the doors is nobody's fucking business. That's why I had to tame myself, and I couldn't be the religious monkey who just throw in my mouth words saying bad things. Oh, people are evil, we must kill. No, I couldn't say these things because it was something private. But the minute that we put our nose into the people's privacy and things like this, then it become a malignant situation. The matters of the darkness become matters of the light. But there is wisdom within it. Except that we were not wise men and women to see wisdom where it is, even if it's staring in our faces. Because you have to be that which you seek, whether it is money, wisdom, whatever. You have to be it to find it. Because it is you. Whatever it is. You have it, you say you are it, you're right. You say you're not it, you are also right. That's so beautiful. These people who ever created these quotes, they know. I'm just regurgitating. And I'm happy to do so. Because it is true. You see what I mean? So I would say if I were to be the one, the guide the community, I would say this is your business. It's nobody's business. Yeah, if you have to fight wars to keep your privacy, whatever, fight wars. That's what it is, because everybody can understand that, my privacy is my privacy. Who will stand against that? But instead, with lack of leadership, they fell for the tricks and fell for certain things, seeking, because what's the point in wanting, everyone must accept me. What the fuck? Why are we seeking acceptance in the first place? I do not understand that mindset. You see what I mean? So the thing is, we have to understand. I recognize that I say, why are we seeking? I'm speaking generally. I'm not speaking as of, okay, I'm part of the gay community or agenda, whatever. I'm saying for all men. By men, I mean men and women. Men and men, mental men, womb men, whatever men. You see what I mean? But because it is in what it is, it's not my business really. Of course, we always gonna feel the need to find something to fight, but there are worthy fights, and those fights are not people's private matters. You see, whatever goes on. That's one thing you see. Prophet Muhammad himself, just like Isa, known as Jesus, known as Yeshua, whatever, just like he never was the first to throw the stone, Muhammad himself, peace and blessing be upon him, never wanted to throw stone either. Because what he says not to spy into people's privacy. And then they also say what else? It's not to, when someone say that something about themselves, you have to accept it, whether it's true or not. And then he also say, you see, not to call people names or whatever. These things that we always seek to do, even in those who follow Nobuju Ali, who is an offshoot of the teaching of Prophet Muhammad. So he say, they would say dirty Moors, blah blah blah. You see what I mean? Because it's something we cannot help. We want to put something in so someone or something into categories. But the minute that we do these things, we have to understand that we are just adding to the problem. How about we just tame our mouths? How about we have no comment unless it's about us? You see what I mean? But it feels so good to belittle others or to put others down, because somehow people feel like, if you down, then I can step on you and look taller or whatever. You see, it's the mechanical mindset. You see, they need that. You see? So that's what it is. It's just that we just have to understand, like, to respect things. Because when we lie to ourselves, say you open, no, we already give the example. Because the thing with the monkey mind is that it's not seeing the reality. It's just speaking. The mouth is faster than the brain. So it's speaking ahead of itself. So he may say things that he don't even know what the fuck he's talking about. Or she talking about. So when we say things like, oh, my life is open, I seek to break the, in reality, when the reality comes to you and say, right away, the reality is gonna show you're lying to yourself, because somebody may come and say, what's your Wi-Fi password? Yo, why are you saying it so loud? I don't want people to know my Wi-Fi password. Or what's your bank account again? Oh, I cannot just say it. Right away, something will make you realize that. But are we really aware enough to see it? Or are we awakened enough to see it when it comes? Because the lesson is immediate. You see what I mean? That's what I never learned I never failed to learn. Because as it comes, I learn it. Because the minute that I do or say something, whatever, because recently I was live on Facebook, traveling with my daughter. And then once I reached the store I was going into, and I came out, and then she was calling me. But I was going on autopilot with it, because I'm live and I don't want to lose my train of thought. So right away, automatically I somehow assume that it's just something trying to disturb my thought, because I was talking about something important. And then she said, no, Dad, I was just showing you that the radio said 10:10 again. You see what I mean? Which is something worth of seeing. But I saw that, but I was not paying attention. And then I realized she just wanted to put my attention to something important. That's assumption. The minute I'm telling people do not assume what blah 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 blah, and then the universe quickly show me a way of assumption. Because it's all about me taking that lesson. It's not about anyone else taking it. It's me. I have to be it first. You see, if I see the problem, I must fix it, like Muji would say. Muji would say, if you see the problem, it only means that you have to fix it. And then you can see the smirking on Muji's face, because so now you got something to do. You see what I mean? Because life is fun for those who understand it. Where people would cry, you see something that makes you smile. You see what I mean? Because it is true. Like, if you keep seeing the problem, you have to fix it. But the problem is, like, when you say, exactly, I have to fix it. But no, it's not that, oh, you do such a great one, a perfect one, and you have to fix it outside of yourself. Nah. You have to fix it within yourself. That's the only power you have. You see, and then only once it's so well into you, then it will flow out of you automatically. You don't have to force it on anyone else. You see what I mean? So should we make the values and the gifts that we are given presented with these days, such as the free medias and this and that, should we turn them into a money scheme once more? Or should we allow our authentic self to just play with it? The child self to just play with it. Invite one another, this and that, blah blah blah. Let's talk. Let's have fun. Let's enjoy this. Or should it be turned to something mechanical again about survival once more? Because we're afraid to lose something. Time or our apartments or house or whatever. All worthy to be worried about, but worry is never really fix anything. You see what I mean? So should we do these things with these tools and these gifts? Just we repeat or regurgitate the same errors. You see what I mean? The same status quo that may not have served us. It's not the problem of the status quo, but it's who's maintaining it. What is it about? It's not a hierarchy that is wrong, it's but whose hierarchy. You see what I mean? Those are the questions we have to keep asking ourselves. You see? Like you see, Till Swan said herself that it is when we say, oh, fuck hierarchy, we shows that we're stupid. And it's true. Because you see, in the home itself, there's a hierarchy, naturally. And then the sister, Aset Ayawaku, also mentioned something of the same magnitude when she was talking about something of the same degree or something like this. When she mentioned, hierarchy in the prisons even. She took that perfect example when she mentioned that even in the jail, you see leadership, it's not something like we think choosing this, blah, blah, blah. It just naturally occur. You see what I mean? Because it's something natural to life. You see what I'm saying? That's just the way it is. So if we don't have to lie to ourselves because we don't want this. Like Till Swan explained it so well that when we stand against the hierarchy, it's because we don't like the position that we hold in it. So if you don't like it, understand the pain to tell you that you are where you don't belong. So it's not changing hierarchy, it's changing yourself so that you may change your position in hierarchy. You see what I mean? Because it's just thinking, like awareness. You just got to be aware of things before you can even tackle things, you see? Because otherwise you're just gonna jump with the impulses and trying to change something where you didn't need to change anything but yourself. You see? But right now it's about art, it's about this, it's about that. You see, it's art, it's self-expression. The human being lived a story. You see, now it's time for this human being to just have fun telling that story. This is paradise. Because when the prophets explain what paradise is, they mention that the prophets just standing there sharing stories, to children. But we can see it as coded. The children are those who are behind time or on time. And the prophets are those who are ahead of time. You see what I mean? But this is the time now that this paradise, this heaven we're trying to bring about. We only trying to be a catalyst or facilitate it or something, but we're not, whatever. It's just we understand to get out of the way. If we have to speak, we're not going to speak to stop it from happening. We're going to speak to facilitate it. And when we speak, we only speak to fix the hearts and the minds that should be focusing on themselves, yet instead focus on everything else. You see what I mean? So what is authenticity in this time except that you are being yourself? Because that's the time just to have fun. Don't you see how frustrated you were having to look for a job and doing these jobs? Now, thank God for those who find ways to take that away from you. But at the same time, once they take it away from you, they take you away with it. Why? Because you failed to be the solution to your own problem. You see what I mean? So now, if someone is bringing AI, this and that, now it comes to replace you. Now you want to fight for the jobs you used to fight to quit. You see what I mean? Because nobody needs you. You see what I mean? It's less costly for the ones who have great corporation to hire the AI and the robots to spend the millions into a best AI invested technologies instead of having humans with a bunch of flaws and their own agendas. How do they know you're not trying to come and take over their business? How many times great corporation of corporation, the owners, does they show like the high end face toward the child? You see, and other couple movies that would show you the same ones who, like, even the um, great corporations, they bring the corporation from the ground, and then the board of directors now try to take the owners of the corporation off the seat of power and replace them in their own creation. So how would they know you're not gonna come with that agenda? So of course, robots looking beautiful for anyone who can afford it, anyone who have a use for it. So now we all falls back on your own self-worth. That's why if you are seeking to add unto yourself something outside, like a degree, this, that, so now he have served you, fed you and your family to sometimes, but now it's time now to bring that attention back to just you. Nothing else added. This is why I gave this thing last time. Face the mirror and forget everything you have and know and own, whatever it is that makes you feel like somebody, and just be naked with yourself. How do you feel? What do you see? This is not an attack on anyone, except that you have to first face yourself to know yourself. See what's missing so that you can add it to yourself. That's what this was about. Because in reality, when you're authentic, there's no need to throw darts. There's no need to have a hidden agenda to take over. Like some people may feel threatened by my presence or whatever. My job is not to come and feel bad, but the only way, you are the greatest enemy you have, really. When working with me can only bring better, because I'm not gonna replace. I'm not gonna take over. That's not what I'm here for. Anyone with a brain is never gonna be here for that. You go, because anyone who understands reality and are thinking in levels of creators of reality, they want everyone uniqueness to show, because they understand the beauty in diversity. Like we say, in paradise, the greatest thing is to be able to tell your story or a story. It could be your story or humanity's story. Put it in beautiful phrases. And then the children just are in awe listening. Their eyes are just, glowing. You see what I mean? Because you put it so beautifully. Even the lows, the downs, or whatever, the ills of society, turn them into beauty. You see? And lessons to be learned. You see? And that's the time now. This is why I would say to everyone who ever listen to me and care, that your children continue to give, not just to give after school program. Let the school be the after school program, but let the art be the main thing. Let them reveal art more than they reveal two and two. You see? Because that's what allows them to express themselves, not the numbers. Because there's a beauty in the human expressing itself, or expression itself, speech. That's why you may find the TED platform is doing so great, YouTube, doing any platform that allows people freedom of speech. The United States itself is great because of the First Amendment. You see what I mean? Freedom of speech. Because it's something very dear to who we are. That's what put us above other animals in the kingdom. But if your words come back void, or if your words are retarded, then of course you're worse than the animals. Because where you pose a threat, the animals don't. You see what I mean? So that's what it is. So we allow them to learn poetry, allow them to have the same amount of love that they would have in making robots. Because what the robots are doing is taking away the jobs from the humans. But humans are not meant to be job seekers anyway, so they're not doing anything wrong. Because what is paradise? Well, when Prophet Muhammad was trying to explain paradise, he explained that paradise was us human beings having a bunch of children, beautiful children, so beautiful that their bones, can show through their skin, whatever. That could be the AI, or the androids or whatever. Really, they may be that what he was seeing, going around serving, meaning they are just without heart. So therefore, they have no aspiration, no inspiration, no need, no weaknesses, no nothing, except no need, no achievements, no goals, no whatever humans have of weaknesses, of also same thing, our strength. And then they just serve because that's what they were created for. You see what I mean? So now the human being don't have to worry about doing all of these things. Now he can just focus on creating beauty, expressing its own self into the arts, whether that is music, vocally, or instrumentally, or whether it is on the canvas, or whether it is, you see what I mean? That's the garden. You see? So in reality, it may pose a problem if we still in that mentality of job seekers. But we will be in that mentality of job seekers where we need to be discarded as garbage if we continue to talk about money the way we are, the way we used to. You see? Like, oh, okay, whatever, make it like the primary. Change the reality. Change by changing the mindset and the way you talk about things. You see? Instead of keep on telling people, oh, chase the money, blah, 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 oh, this and that, money, God, whatever. But what happens now? When we say, okay, we act like money is God, what happened? So now we see brothers like Dwayne Wade. In this, many people are talking about his privacy, but that's him bringing out his privacy. That's the thing. I cannot call it a mistake because he may have his own reasons to do so. And the main reason I see is to women relevant, okay, and then also to there was a great price to gain. Because he's not stupid wasting his time. He knows what he's doing. If we going out there saying money is God, aren't we supposed to obey God and to do whatever we can to have God in our lives? So that's why we have to be careful with what we say. Because we don't want our words to create a reality that we're gonna have to fight later. Because if we're saying money, God, whatever, money, blah blah blah, 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 and then later somebody does something because of money, or we mad. No, but we're supposed to obey God. That's nothing wrong with obeying God. That's the role of those under God. Obey without question. So the best we can do is to applaud the brother, really, if we really believe that that's how it is. Because he's obeying God, he's doing whatever he can for the sake of God. Or do we need to change the way we see the reality? You see what I mean? Because the problem is that we cannot be arrogant enough to come and force it out of you, or force you not to say or do or whatever. But all we can do is to allow you to see the steps for yourself. But if you fail to see your own failures and mistakes, then we have no choice but to lay plain in front of you, so that we just show you the mirror. but be strong enough not to run away from the reflection, as ugly as it may look in front of you. You see? So the thing is like that's why we choose these words. That's why we speak the way we speak. Specifically when it comes to something so powerful as money. You see? We're not trying to change what it already is, except that we're trying to change how we deal with that. Because we're trying to create a new world, a new reality. It has to start with what's coming out of our mouths. Because they are a reflection of what's in our hearts and a projection to our mind. So we have to be careful because they're all connected. You see? I know where I'm not arrogant you may be. I know where you may think you better. I know all of these low situations within people. But that's the thing with the heart. If you're representing the great mother never seek to be right. Because great mother's already right by default. So what's the need for great mother to, just like some people will understand darkness sometimes need to see the light. Darkness never seek to be nothing. Because darkness is the 0 point. It doesn't see itself. It doesn't care. It doesn't even care to care. It's not even about caring. I don't even know how to explain darkness. Because what is the light that darkness is seeking except that it's an illusion within darkness? It's the child in darkness. Where is your son as the mother? In your womb. Where is it? Why it's in your womb? Nowhere to be seen. Except, the bump. It is in your belly. Yet he exists within you. With all the great potential that it can become as it manifested. You see? That's light, your son. But the mother, what is the darkness. You see what I mean? You think the mother wants to go inside his own ass to become that child? Hell no. He's already ahead of that child, able to guide that child, that son, SUNOSON. You see what I mean? So darkness never seek no light. Don't get it twisted. Darkness has nothing to seek. Darkness is everything. Don't you see the darkness encompasses things? It infiltrates, it invades everything. You see what I mean? You can't keep it away or out. Because there's no out of darkness. Darkness is. You see? So just understand when we speak. Understand what we're talking about. And then also, you see, that's why, try not. Like I say, we open to, to hear comments, whatever, against us, what we say, blah, blah, blah. You see, but trust me, we are louder critics against our own words than anyone outside of ourselves could be. So if we already come out to say something, you best believe there's an agenda behind that. You see? But the thing is what? It's like we still welcome anyone's words because we're not perfect. And we don't want to be perfect either. You see what I mean? So, of course, we have to leave room, just like that you see Prophet Nubu Juhadi himself told me what? That, okay, my mistake was that I called myself a prophet. And every time we call him a prophet too, he feels that pain. You see what I mean? Because he can't help but remembering. Imagine in the face of the greats like yourself, like he's among other prophets of all time, where his own mistake. But the beauty is that most of them have made their own mistakes. You see what I mean? But it still doesn't feel good. You see? To always have the children repeating that mistake in your face. Like, you see what I mean? Like, okay, just like, in Black Panther movie where the son of Wakanda had to tell the king that, oh, you were wrong, father. You see what I mean? Yet it's not about right or wrong. It's except that he had to leave that gate, that door open, that sacrifice within himself that he had no choice to. He does have a choice, but the other choice was not the greater. The greatest one is the one that's going to cause him to be ridiculed, to be criticized by his own son. But now the son is the one that will understand better than just being a better king than his father. That's not what it's about. It's about the father leaving a room to see who's gonna fit into his shoes. Which one is gonna fill in the hole? Let's see the mistake, whatever you call that, as a hole left to be filled with the cornerstone. And whoever is gonna come with the solution of that is that cornerstone. So that's what that. It's not his balls or whatever that's gonna make him fit, or his iron fist. His own gnosis, knowing and understanding that's gonna fill in that gap that cause him to be in the seat that he's gonna be. You see what I mean? So when we speak of Malcolm X, may they rest in peace, and Dr. King and all of those, and that we share certain things, not that we want to, but this is how the reality works. They started something bigger than themselves. Of course, it's easy to lose your way or to do certain things. That it's not about criticizing. You see, instead to understand, you may analyze but not criticize. You see what I mean? Because you're seeking to understand. Because the best thing they did is that they look over themselves and worry about other than themselves. That is in and of itself is already the sacrifice that can, cover any mistake whatsoever. That decision, that heartfelt decision alone, can cover and is enough to erase anything they may have done wrong. You see? So we can't expect like a complete trail of whatever. So this is why when we speak, that's the powerful message. That's what it is. It's to prepare the way for the next or something like that. The next ones of understanding. You see? So that they may be able to feel whatever we couldn't. Because everyone have a piece of themselves that we may not hold. Everyone is a different piece to the puzzle. You see what I mean? So of course you have to have certain curves, just like when you putting a puzzle together. Don't you see that whole? It's gonna fit with. You see what I mean? So in reality, the ego is always gonna see it. Oh, you made a mistake. When he's already making a mistake by looking at it this way, but yet he's so stupid he doesn't see it that way. And I understand monkeys may feel certain way about me saying the prophets say he made a mistake. Like I said, the prophets say he made a mistake. So I'm not saying anything that he didn't say or he wouldn't say. Because unlike us, he's not going to try to hide it like, oh, no. If it's his private situation, then of course, that's his business. But if it's something that, it's about everyone, then he has to just leave it open. Allowing all of us to see where he fell, so that we don't continue on that route. Because if he doesn't, then there's gonna be, the movement cannot be filled, or it can't fulfill anything. Because there's an understanding that's gonna bring certain speeches that's not gonna bring the reality desired. It's missing something from the get-go. So that's why we have to understand. When one of us say something, whatever, like you see Prophet Muhammad, respected the prayer of Suleiman. That's what a man is supposed to do. You have to be aware of your next brother. Your job is not to just look down upon or try to be beyond or above whatever. That's retardedness. You see what I'm saying? So instead what he does, he look over himself and then realize that, okay, I could have done that, and that would show. Many people wanted to know if I'm a prophet, true prophet. They kept on challenging me to show them miracles. That could have been his miracle. But he had to respect the prayer of the Buddha, because it's always a choice. And these choices tell if you're a true man or just something with two balls and a penis hanging. You see what I mean? So he just had to respect those words from Suleiman when he prayed to be the only prophet with such power. So he left it alone, even though that could have helped him in his own self-gratuity or something like this, and in his own prophethood. But as it helped him, he would have opened a door to show that he's not worthy anyway. Because what makes him great is it's what he's willing to sacrifice, not what he's willing to grasp. You see what I mean? That's what we have to understand. So now Noble Drew Ali could grasp the title prophethood, but Prophet Muhammad left that same door open for the next. Also, next wise men or next powerful men that can bring a change needed to the people. Yet he didn't see it that way. You see? If he says, I'm the last of the prophet, he doesn't, it's not about right or true or false. It may be false, but it is true at the same time because he said it. That's what we have to understand about reality. It may be false according to you, but it's true according to his words. That's the power of words. That's why people may say Jesus never existed. That may be true, but it is also true that it is written that he existed. So how do you deal with that? You see what I mean? So now what he did, he said, okay, I'm a prophet, and if you don't believe me, whatever. He felt the need to put, mostly because of himself, but his need for his people to believe and trust him. Because he know that he had an answer or an antidote to their issues. They lost themselves. So he knew how to reattach them to their ancestral ways and their land and stuff like that. Which is what they longed for at that time. Because they were children of enslaved beings and prisoners of war, whatever. You see what I'm saying? But he had the choice, but he just didn't see it. You see? Except when he did, he was too late. You see? But when one say, that's why many people that I know hold the platform, especially, those that are leading spiritually. Only when I have to speak against what they're saying, I do. But I try not to at all. Even though sometimes I may understand that, like, let's say, sometimes still someone may say something, for example, that to me sound like, not like Till Swan. Like, she's too smart to be saying stuff like that. But instead, what am I seeing is like maybe she loves me so much or someone so much she wants to open a door to create a door to allow that being to take it, because you know how they pass the torch. Okay, they make that mistake openly because they're not really looking to be somebody because they're already great already. So now they just say something so that to open a door to the next one they may enjoy or love to get in. Like, okay, I'm sacrificing myself right now, giving you a gate. You see, come in. I'm allowing you to call me stupid, to show that you're better than I. But it's a choice. Because that's how I see it. Because trust me, I don't see stupidity in people when I look at people. Unless you're stupid, obviously. You see what I mean? Which is something you do to yourself. And I can't help but seeing it, which is painful to me anyway. You see what I mean? So that's why, you don't just look for mistakes in people like that. You see what I mean? Because you never know what's going on. Reality is so complicated. You see what I mean? So that's why it's always good to have the best, interest in people, the best, whatever, anything about people, you have to learn to make it the best. Because everything you may look down on may be, how would you feel? Let's say somebody, like Till Swan may say something, like say, or Sevan, or Seth, or anyone leading spiritually. You see what I mean? So now, how would you say that they understand so well and they already beyond whatever, they are saying greatly on all levels, whatever, they don't need anything from the reality in reality. So what it is, they just see someone that they love, that they think belong where they are, and they want that in their circle or something like this, and then he has to be a sacrifice. So what do you think they have to sacrifice? Nothing but themselves. That's the only thing worthy. Anyway. So now, of course, sometimes they may make that mistake just purposely. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes it's not about It's so if you do like if you follow the Bible purposely, you know there's nothing wrong with it. It's only when you don't know, you're just following blindly. That's the only time it's a problem. But if you know and you make a conscious decision, oh, I'm gonna take the Bible as something I teach to bring understanding to people. You know what you're doing, and you know what the Bible means, and you know how to decode it. Whether you think you can get lost in doing that? Nah. That's the same thing. If they choose to say certain things, they recognize the weakness in what they're saying. But either they choosing to do it, or they just find like something, some type of guide is telling them to do it. And they have no choice but to listen because they've been guided by the same guide for so long that they can trust it. You see? Because that's what it is. That's the same thing. You see, the prophet said, no, but Ali said, okay, you see, there I go saying it again. You see, because I myself, as a Muslim, you see, because I was raised, I mean, I was taught not to call any other, not to believe in any other prophet, whatever it is, because it was a very important in the teaching of Prophet Muhammad. Why? Because the Christ already foretold, and they always take each other's advice and stuff like this, that in the end there's gonna be a lot of false prophets, right? So now he wanted to just put an end to that. Okay, let me stop it. So people already know there's no more prophet. So anyone who would call themselves a prophet, you already know what it is. So what happens now? When he come and then he opened that gate with all the powerful things he had to offer, that's the confusion because some people couldn't help but seeing him as what he was because you see what I mean. But the words he used opened the door back again to the confusion in this time. That's why we have to be so careful when we are using words. That's what I'm saying. I know how powerful you think actions are, but everything is action. Whatever is a verb is dictating an action. You see, speaking is an act. That's why it can cause an effect. You see, just like touching, feeling, whatever. It's an act. You see? So the thing is, like, that's why we have to be wise with what we say. And we have to tame ourselves from trying to belittle or discredit or whatever things of the lower selves. Especially in this time. That's why we say lower self is very naked. Why? Because it can be seen with the naked eye. Especially if someone is, don't you know there's many people that they may not be able to see it intuitively, but there are classes, especially among the forces like the alphabet boys or something like this. They literally have classes teaching people how to decode liars, how the signs to look for, and how to decode the murderer, how to decode this. Reading people, they don't know it intuitively, but they know it by mind. So that's why I say with the naked eye. You see, people can, just because they read a book about the ego, they can tell the ego by seeing the ego. So that's why authenticity is the death of ego, because ego is not authentic. Ego seeks to validate self-validation outside of itself. Ego needs ego have needs where he has to even sacrifice his own self or something like that. So that's why ego is the illusion that can be sacrificed. So to have the ego in these days is the worst thing you can have. It's the worst tool you can have working with you. Why? Because its potentiality is able to make you or break you, as it was always, but worse now. You see? So that's why there's so much to talk about, so much to teach, except that we have to look for what matters most, which is self. Because if you really seek to know the universe, the oceans will be dried over and over, like the Quran would say. Yet you will not exhaust the knowledge of the universe. So why should we be seeking anything other than what we need? The first thing we need is to know ourselves. Prophet Noble, the great Noble Drew Ali said that. You see what I mean? The great Noble Drew Ali said that, you see, it is okay, you see, self. If you ask me what to study again, I would say self. And after that, you ask me, I would say self again. You may not see the value in yourself or the complexity in yourself. That's your mistake. But that doesn't change the fact that you are valuable and you are complex. You see? So study yourselves. You see? So thank you for listening. That's what that is for the day. I don't know how long I've been on here and stuff like this. We thank you, for having listened. You see, in time, whether live or not. But this is very important. I know it is not for the monkey mind. And maybe, the way we go about it, maybe that's the best way. You see, but I do know, you see, like it's not about not forcing it into the reality, because this is too important, to worry about, except that you just let it be. You see, it's not the type of thing that you have a choice over. You see what I mean? It's just let it be. And if you can't share it, don't stand in its way. You see, that's just what it is, because this is for all of us. And it doesn't exclude anyone. It doesn't exclude, when I speak, I don't exclude Disney, I don't exclude the Dalai Lama, I don't exclude um, Alex Crowley, I don't exclude the Pope, I don't exclude anyone. So, because it's unbiased, it's just what it is. You see what I'm saying? Anyone can take away from that. That's just the type of speech it is. So the thing is like, don't try to stand in the way, because the thing is like it's in the ethers anyway. It's gonna do what it does. You see? So there's nothing to do except if you can help yourselves or something like this, then that would be for your own good. But standing in the way is the worst thing you can do for yourself. You see? Because it's not seeking anything. You see? It does what it is. And whatever it offers, that's what it offers. You see? So that's what it is. We may not speak, we know that open the platform for certain self thing, but Till Swan said it best in something she just released, that you see, when people do, altruistic act and whatever, there's no such thing in the universe as self-sacrifice, whatever. There is a lot of truth in that, because we can't lie to ourselves. Though it may be kind of controversial to certain things, because at the same time we say, okay, we can't do things except that we expect something back. At the same time, we would say that, okay, we should do things without expecting. You see, that's the thing. We have to learn to speak the whole truth. You see, otherwise we're gonna sound so controversial and so frustrating or whatever. You see, so the thing is like, what it is just the thing is, that's what I shared recently, the reminder of the 7 hermetic principles, and the most important one in this topic is the law of reciprocity. You see, because sometimes when we ask for certain things, we shouldn't have to, but we understand the free will, and the people may have it but don't know how to use it. So we have to make sure we don't leave any rocks unturned, and we make sure to facilitate the way to allow things to keep going in a positive way for everyone. So that's why we remind others to do certain things, but really we shouldn't have to. Value, anything, even a Lamborghini doesn't have to make commercials for itself. Everybody can see the value in a Lamborghini. You see what I'm saying? So that's what it is. When we speak, unless you're a retarded monkey, then of course you have to see value in what we're saying. So whatever that is to you, then you have to. The way the universe works is reciprocity. You see, there has to be like an exchange or whatever. It's just how it works. You see. So because if we fail to respect the laws and stuff like this, and like they call them the seven principles or hermetic principles. So importantly, they are literally the fabric of reality. It's that what keeps it together. So the thing is, we really not doing anything. You see what I mean? But there's nothing we hate more than asking. So that's what it is. But if you don't know yourself, then we have no choice. You see. So thank you for listening. This is your brother Vlad, uh, and your humble platform. The podcast, which seeks to be the bridge, seeks to be the catalyst to growth and evolution, and all of those things. And you see, and also VTV. This is where we broadcast, and we thank YouTube. Also, we thank the ancestors. We thank everyone who ever believed in us, whoever shared our work. You do more for the reality than you do for ourselves. You see, because what we do, as you can see, we literally look to reality more than we do to ourselves. Because once we focus on our own reality, just ourselves are safe. You see what I mean? We have nothing to worry about. That's why we're not worried about sacrificing what needs to be sacrificed. You see? So that's what it is. It's just the way the reality works. And that's why you can blame the people, the 1%, when they can take even their own children and sacrifice them for the greater good. That's their greater good. You see what I'm saying? So that, but they recognize the main thing we have to take away from that is that they recognize the need for sacrificing. You see, so the thing is like it doesn't mean that you have to just like you see when in the Bible when Abraham had to sacrifice his son at the request of God, then God see his willingness to obey, then give him something else to sacrifice because it's really not about sacrificing something like that, but there are things worthy of sacrifice. You don't have to sacrifice your life because if you take your life away or something like this, then how you gonna be doing your work? You see what I mean? Although there's no death, and this is what the Islamic teachings tell. When in the end of time, God will call upon death, and He will sacrifice death in front of the world. Everybody will, until beyond that, there will be no death. It's what it means is that once you realize that death is an illusion, that's the sacrifice of death. This is already done. You see, you just don't understand what you're looking at. You see. So the thing is like that's just like the Bible. Once you recognize what it means, then it cannot misguide you anymore. So now you can enjoy it. You can learn from it as it's supposed to. You see, the same with that. You feel me? So the thing is like just learn to understand and let's learn from one another. And I could sacrifice whatever. That's I'm not asking you to do the same thing because we live authentically according to the way we will. So the thing is like, but at the same time, don't you see how important my words are? Just like the silver and the chocolate bar. I can only help you see the value in the silver, which are my words in this equation. So to the point where you are willing to sacrifice your time and your resources for it. But until then, you're gonna continue to take the chocolate over the silver bar. You see what I mean? So that's just the way it is. It doesn't say about me and what I'm saying. It only says about you. So elevate yourself, allow yourself to learn, and open to growth, and become a better version of yourself, like we are all trying to, so that we can experience a better reality. Live, love, laugh, and learn. It's a beautiful Sunday afternoon, yet I sacrificed it for you, and I hope you're willing to do the same. So thank you for everything and everyone. We love you, wholeness. So that's what it is, guys. Nothing more. Peace.